Welcome to another FPL video. This is going to be a reaction stream to Game Week 5. So I'm going to be talking about Game Week 4, how it went. Of course, we just had Everton against Burnley, a 3-1 victory for Everton, a nice little comeback without Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So already a lot to talk about there. And then you look across the whole weekend, so much has happened. Of course, Ronaldo scoring on his debut, a fantastic brace. And there's just so much to talk about also with the channel as well. So really appreciate everyone who is here. We're going to be going through your questions. I'm going to be looking ahead to Game Week 5, giving you a preview of my team. Of course, more will occur later and I'll be making some changes. And of course, you guys will know in my future team selection videos and also the deadline stream to come. But of course, thank you very much to everyone who is here. We've already got over 20 people watching and it's 10 o'clock really. 10 o'clock at night in Britain. And of course, yeah, I mean, it's late night shenanigans, so if I do, sound slurry, it's not because I'm drinking or anything, it's probably because I'm tired, but either way, this, I guess, gives me a bit of energy. But I have to say, thank you to everyone who has helped me reach 5,000 subscribers, really appreciate it, and same with Twitter, we reached 500 followers on Twitter as well at the exact same time, so really appreciate all the support. Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. And thank you to Rodrigo Arias. He's become the first channel member and he's going to be having access to all the exclusive perks, so really appreciate Rodrigo and good to have you on board as well. And the first thing that kind of stands out there, Mikel Antonio, what are we going to do with him? He got sent off. I actually thought he would do really well against Southampton and he gets sent off, and I was actually slightly tempted to captain him. In the end, I went with Ronaldo, so really happy with that, of course. Salah as well, I wouldn't have minded captaining him. At one point, I was thinking of it, especially with what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said about Ronaldo, but in the end, I just thought Ronaldo was going to start, as I kept saying in my deadline stream, also in all of my videos, basically leading up to the Game Week 4 deadline, and I'm happy that I stuck with my gut feeling there. Greenwood with another assist, of course. Jota, very disappointing. He should have got at least a goal. Don't know what happened there. Benrahma didn't really look too threatening in my opinion. Ivan Toney, to be fair, created a few big chances and almost scored a really good goal, but in the end he blanked. Cody I brought in for a hit and he was on my bench, so a bit disappointed there. But of course, who would I have benched really from my starting lineup? Perhaps Toney, but other than that, I don't think I would have benched anyone else. Ben White got the clean sheet, but a yellow card. Trent, I mean, he's just so good. This is why I just didn't see the kind of need to go about him. Luke Shaw got the assist, so very happy with him too. And Sanchez clean sheet, so overall, very happy with my team. And in terms of my rank, it's not completely set in stone. I don't know what my rank would be post-substitutes, but at this moment in time, I'm around 107k in the world, so a small green arrow, and yeah, 74 points overall, and I took a -4 hit. So all in all, not too bad in my opinion, and I'll take that, of course. It's a very good start to the season, probably even better than last season, which was actually pretty decent as well. And let me go through all your questions. So Noah asked, Mbappe, because we're going to rest Lukaku. Yeah, that was to a question about UCL Fantasy, Lukaku or Mbappe. Abdelayla says, hi Dylan, hope you're doing okay. I'm doing really well, hopefully you are too. Thank you for joining in. Welcome Noah. Damari Gray, says Larry Bird. Yeah, actually my mum plays UCL Fantasy and I brought in Damari Gray, advised her to get Damari Gray as well. She's doing really well. She's doing better than me. Maybe she should be doing the videos instead. But yeah, Damari Gray. Him and Gallagher look like the best options at the moment. I actually highlighted Gallagher in a few of my videos recently, but I never expected him to haul against Spurs, and he could have even got even more points. But speaking about Gray, very good performance. Baraka says, hello Dylan, hope you're doing well mate. I'm doing really well, hopefully you are too. Welcome Josh. Larry says, Dylan, I wouldn't have been 300 plus points if I didn't accidentally -8 hit for Bruno in Game Week 2 while at a festival. Yeah, I think a good kind of lesson to take from that is do not make transfers when you're in a festival or something like that, especially, if you've got a bit of booze. Nigel says, Antonio out and Alan St. Maximin in, not for me. And also, look at the fixtures afterwards for West Ham. Obviously, against Manchester United, that is the game that he's going to be missing. You don't expect too much anyway from from West Ham and Antonio, but Leeds away is actually looking like a really good fixture. It should be green, if anything, when the FDR updates. And then Brentford at home, Everton away, Tottenham at home, Villa away. I think there's a very good fixtures, to be honest. Yeah, Tottenham at home isn't the easiest, but then again, if Spurs played like they did against Palace, Antonio could have some joy. It's just a big shame he got sent off towards the end of the game, really. It was unnecessary, but I would not be bringing St. Maximin for Antonio, definitely not. I have both Antonio and DCL unavailable. Antonio plus DCL to Lukaku plus 4.5 before Lukaku price rise. That is an option, but once again, I'm going to keep on saying it. I like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Antonio long term. if you have enough squad depth, I'd probably just kind of hold and keep Antonio if possible. Of course, with Calvert-Lewin, let's wait and see if his injury is more severe than we thought. I don't know what to do with my team, that is true. What time is the UCL stream? It will be at 4 o'clock tomorrow, British summer time. So quite early, but I put a poll out and most people went with that. So we're going to be going for that. I'm not able to stream around the time that I usually do, which is an hour or so before the deadline, which is when the matches kick off. So I asked you lot, which time do you prefer? And most of you went with 4 o'clock. You okay, mate? Yes, Tyler. Hopefully you are too. Dylan says, evening all. Hope everyone has a solid game week. Respect the dedication to be streaming this late. Thank you, Dylan. And once again, I put a poll out and most people wanted it to happen straight after the Everton-Burnley game. And of course, the people get what they want. And to be honest, it's not really a bad time to stream, if anything. But yeah, at least we have all the data now. I've got a good idea of what my rank is and a better idea of how to move forward. Because obviously, if I did this kind of reaction stream just before the Everton game, I wouldn't even have known if Dominic Calvert-Lewin was playing or not. And I would have just been talking about, yeah, he's fine. He'll probably be a really good asset in the weeks to come. And now he's a bit of an issue. But hopefully he is returning soon. Thoughts on Bamford for DCL? It makes sense for the fixtures, and if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out for a long period of time, then I would suggest that as one of your transfers, if not Raul Jimenez. But if Calvert-Lewin is fit, and of course we'll know more in the week or so to come, then I'd probably just keep him instead, because Bamford and Leeds have been looking very underwhelming this season so far, and we need to see more from them. Simon says, would you sell Benrahma and who for? I need someone for 5 to 7 before I wildcard in Game Week 8. Thinking of Traore, as Wolves have the best free fixtures. Look, honestly, before this game week, I would have said sell Benrahma to get Rafinha because he's got good fixtures medium to long term, which also fits in with your situation. But I'm not too sure. But you know what? Trying to avoid recency bias and all that, I still think Rafinha's a good option. We just need to see more from Leeds in general. They just haven't been very good. Of course, they just came up against a very good team. But Rafinha is someone to consider, if not Ismaila Sarr, Traore, as you said. Other than that, though, I mean, unless you can upgrade to a Torres, Greenwood or Jota, it's not like you have too many options. If anything, maybe just forget about price and go for a Damari Gray or a Gallagher. They could be good options. But of course, just because they've been doing so well at this moment in time, it doesn't mean they're going to continue it. They are obviously kind of unproven in the grand scheme of things. But they are two players you could ultimately consider. -4 hit for Reece and Marçal. If possible, I try to avoid it. It also depends who you're getting out, in my opinion. Ollie says, hey man, just want to say I love your vids. Thank you very much, mate. And hope to see you in future videos and live streams. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the live chat. Thank you very much, mate. Thoughts on Jimenez for Antonio? Yeah, once again, I think, in regards to your question earlier, I did mention Jimenez. He's another one you could go for. But honestly, if you can afford it, try to just have Antonio on your bench and then have him back, because that Leeds game is looking really good for West Ham and Antonio, in my opinion. 82 points this week for me. Let's go. Really good, mate, Abby. That's a fantastic score. What Wolves players would you be looking at? Probably, yeah, Cody, Marçal, even Semedo. He actually looked really threatening. Could have scored in Game Week 4. Then Trincao, to be fair, I thought Podence would immediately displace him. This could be an issue going forward, but Trincao looked very impressive. And I'd probably, yes, still say Traore and Jimenez. Other than that, we need to see more from the other assets, but those are the sorts of names I'd be looking at. If I had to kind of break it down in terms of the players I want the most, I'd probably say Marçal, if he's nailed, Jimenez, and probably Traore. But yeah, Cody's hopefully decent. I brought him instead of Marçal, but in the end, I would have benched Marçal anyway. That's just kind of my situation there. Evening, Dylan says, Chris, and by the way, I don't know why, I don't know, I sound like I've got a raspy voice right now, but yeah, don't worry, it's not fatigue or anything. Josh says, 62 points, no chips, no hits this season yet, but I don't think that's a good thing. Rank estimated around 800k and only one free transfer this game week. Not sure what to do, but I'm ignoring FPL and putting my time into UCL Fantasy. Yeah, for the time being, it's probably best because UCL Fantasy is just right around the corner. It's probably best to focus on that right now. Obviously, have an idea of what you want to do in FPL, but you don't have to obviously make all your decisions just yet. You've got plenty of time. And because the Champions League is coming into play, what I probably recommend, just like with last week, try to save your transfers until the last minute. I think that's very crucial. And yeah, 62 points is still fine. No chips used. Unless you mean you have no chips left. That would be a bit concerning. No hits this season. Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, not making a hit is actually really impressive. I've already made my first one, unfortunately, to get Ronaldo in. And yeah, it is what it is. Ashish says, hey Dylan, you know what? I got 81 points this week. Thank you so much for your suggestions regarding my team. Lukaku was my captain alongside Ronaldo. Really appreciate your help, mate. Thank you very much. And to be honest, having Lukaku and Ronaldo, you're in a very good position there. And I'm probably going to be making a wildcard video for Game Week 5. Let me know if you lot are interested. And both of them are probably going to be featuring. Kind of a spoiler alert there. But on my wildcard in a few weeks' time, perhaps, if I do go that route, I think I'm going to try to do what you've been doing. And of course, that's the kind of appeal of wildcarding early. You're ahead of the curve in some aspects. But I just want to still wait for more information. But really appreciate your comment. And hopefully you keep up the good work. Though I got screwed keeping Tanganga. Yeah, I mean, that's a bit unfortunate, to be honest. He lost his head and Zaha got the better of him in the end. And to be fair, even Emerson played. Tanganga played as a centre-back and Zaha pretty much had both of them on strings, especially Emerson. So that's something to look out for in the future. And now, after all the good performances that Tanganga had, maybe he's not going to be part of the first team anymore. And by that, I don't mean he's going to be out of the squad, but he might not be in the lineup. Something to keep an eye on. What rank is your mum, Dylan, mate? I think she's in the top 100k, actually. She has Damari Gray, and she had Calvert-Lewin, but because he didn't play, she's got Veltman coming off her bench. So you see, everything's working in her favour. She captained Salah, but it doesn't matter. In the end, she still gets as many points as me this week, pretty much, and in the other week, she outscored me. So, she's doing the business, and ultimately, maybe I'm a fraud. Maybe I am. Ended up getting Gray and Ronaldo last week. Was a decent turn from Son and Ings. Yeah, I mean, Gray and Ronaldo, two great transfers this week, just like others I was talking about just now. Would you take Kane and Johnson out for Lukaku and Marcel? I probably would, actually, yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, Kane is going to come good. I thought he would against Palace, but yeah, I think Lukaku is probably more poised to do well against Spurs than Kane is against Chelsea. How long have you been playing fantasy football, mate? I think you mentioned once that you started YouTube 1819 to 1920. How long before you made the channel? Great question. Okay, so in terms of Sky Fantasy Football, I'll be honest, I was a complete casual in there, but I actually did really well. I can't remember my exact ranks, but I think I started in 2017-18. Then I played 2 seasons of that, and then I think I started FPL. Let me try to remember exactly. I think I started in the 2018-19 season, but I never played it. Like, I would not make transfers every week. And I started playing it, I'd say, more seriously, or I would be a bit more committed in the 2019-20 season. And that's when I started making videos. I was doing gaming, I was doing football analysis, talking about Arsenal and the Premier League. And I also did the same thing for FPL. I'd make the videos, same with UCL Fantasy. And I'd say from last season, that's when I started being really consistent, not just in terms of FPL and, giving it more thought, but also with my videos. So that's hopefully the answer to your question. I think in my first season, I'd say, of playing FPL, I finished 67k, and then last season I finished 55k. And UCL Fantasy, kind of same thing. I finished 20k my first season, and in my second season around 3,000 or 4,000 in the world. So decent ranks, nothing special, and I just kind of see myself as a prospect. Got potential, I can improve. And one thing I have to say that I always did in FPL was make so many hits, so many transfers. And I think at one point, even 2 seasons ago and even last season, I probably took around 100 points worth of hits, to be honest. But, that's the way I played the game. Still did all right, but I wouldn't recommend taking that many hits. Got DCL, Antonio, Ronaldo. DCL to who? Thinking Bamford. Once again, if possible, I'd try to hold Antonio, because that fixture against Leeds, and even the ones preceding that, I think are really good. But of course, if you really want to get rid of him, you don't have cover, then I would recommend either Bamford or Jimenez. I think Jimenez could come good. And he's been very unlucky. He's had so many shots. I think he's had over 11 shots so far this season and no goals. That's going to change soon. Hopefully it does. He's a really good player. Did anyone see Andros Townsend's screamer? I'll be honest, I actually didn't see that goal. Do you see what I mean? I was preparing the stream for today, but I'll definitely have a look later on. Bamford for DCL. Once again, if you want to get rid of DCL, I'd probably be looking at Bamford or Jimenez. It's kind of the same names popping about, but otherwise, let's just wait and see until the next press conference. We have more information. I don't know if Rafa Benitez has just come out now and said he's out for a long time. It could be the case, but still, I'd just be patient at the moment. But if you do have to get rid of him, Bamford or Jimenez to replace him. Let's see. Lukaku keep for Tottenham, or sell for Bamford, or sell Antonio for Bamford. I'd keep Lukaku against Tottenham. I think he can do well. Tottenham, of course, before today, or should I say before this weekend, they didn't concede a goal, but they were very lucky. They had the third most shots conceded of any team. And then against Palace, 20 shots conceded. Absolute madness. I'd keep Lukaku for that. I think he can do well. I'm not too convinced about him in the big games, but I still think he can come good, and yeah, I'd keep him for that. And I definitely wouldn't sell him for Bamford, in my opinion. That's just the way I see it, because either way, you'd probably want Lukaku back in Game Week 7. I did a wildcard for Game Week 4, and it's a disaster. Antonio and DCL out. Christensen didn't play. Captain Jota, and he didn't score. I sold DCL now for Bamford. I mean, that's unlucky, mate. There's a good picks that you made. Antonio, highest point scorer in FPL. DCL was doing, I'd say he's the second best striker so far this season around his price bracket. Christensen at 5 million is a steal. And Jota, he's been doing so well. Whenever I seem to get him, he just doesn't do the business for me. And UCL, Fantasy and FPL, I don't know what it is. But yeah, I wouldn't kind of kick yourself about that. The only thing I would say is that going forward, just consider the possibility of wildcarding later on when you have more information and more data. But these weeks can happen. It tends to happen to a lot of people. You know, you do immediately very poorly, but in the long run, you might actually benefit. So those are still good picks in my opinion. When's the best time to free hit? I got 2 red cards this week. Oh, and hard fixtures this week. Watch fixtures in Game Week 5. What's your opinion? Yeah, I mean, that's a team-dependent question. In your situation, you could arguably free hit, but I tend to prefer using it during a blank or double game week. That helps you with your chip strategy in terms of, you know, navigating these kind of different weeks where you need to you don't want to jeopardize other weeks in the process by taking a lot of hits and stuff like that going into those weeks. So it's best to use a free hit or a wild card. So I'd try to save the free hit for those situations. And if you have 2 free transfers, then it's not too bad in your situation, but I'm guessing you don't. But yeah, arguably you could use it this week. I play a 3-5-2 on FPL and I have Antonio, so I either transfer him out or play one striker, so I'm in the mud at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing you don't have any kind of defensive cover. But if you have someone like even Livramento, then you could arguably play him as well and just fill it in instead of taking a hit and stuff like that. But of course, it is a tricky situation. And even then, I look at my strike force for next week. I've got Tony and Ronaldo. Not too convinced. Of course, Ronaldo is Ronaldo. I expect him to do well every week pretty much. But Ivan Toney, I don't know. It's just, I wasn't convinced by him at the start of the season and I still am not. So I completely get what you mean. And yeah, if you only have one striker, you probably want to get rid of him. Good thing I brought in Gray this game week. Yeah, that's really good. And him and Gallagher offering great value around their price. Who is better? Let me know in the live chat. Hey Dylan got 74 this week. Not too bad. It's looking like a wild card is needed, but I'll continue to rethink. Yeah, 74 is a good score. I mean, that's pretty much what I got, but obviously I took a hit. So 74 is a fantastic score. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you need a wild card because you're probably doing well so far this season. Yeah, I'd say just give it a bit of time, reflect. But of course, you know, the wildcard can be very beneficial at any time. It's just about getting the timing right. And of course, that's easier said than done. Let me actually show you what my team is looking like for Game Week 5. We've got 5 defenders. Antonio, of course, is not going to feature. He's third on my bench. I've got Benrahma and Brownhill there to fill it up. And yeah, Jota, Salah, Greenwood, Tony and Ronaldo. I could arguably captain Ronaldo, but I think I'm going to be going with Salah. Despite how good Palace have been, I just expect Liverpool to put 2 or 3 past them. So, yeah, I think I'm going to be going with Salah. Of course, I might change my mind going into it. And if you look at Ronaldo, I think he had the second highest expected goals of any player over the weekend. But that was before the Everton game, so that may have changed. Marcel did wonders for me. 13 points from a defender, assisting an own goal and a clean sheet. Yeah, and also I think he got a yellow card, but didn't stop him from getting a double-digit return. 74 points this week once again, and this is from Dylan. And a third green arrow pushing to beat 311 points and 156k rank. Pre-subs and no chips hits used with Ronaldo in my team. Keeping this ship steady. I think that's the best thing to do and not to kind of go overboard or, you know, make kind of, I'd say, overreactionary moves. Best so far replacement around 5 million and already have Wolves, Brighton, Liverpool, United and Everton defence. Tough decision for me. I would probably say Christensen, but if he's not going to be playing every single week, which is something I highlighted before, I was kind of worried about him sometimes coming out, then yeah, maybe it's best to look elsewhere. I mean, you've already got Wolves, Brighton, Liverpool, United and Everton, so it's very tough to kind of suggest one. I'd probably have to have a look and then give you another answer. I definitely wouldn't be bringing a Spurs player ahead of this week, and maybe their luck has run out. Maybe they're not going to keep too many clean sheets. I still think Dyer and all these sorts of players can offer very good value, but of course he's injured. Let's wait and see what happens with him. And funnily enough, I think his injury actually hurt Spurs. I'll be sure to put myself in your UCL league, and so watch out for me. I think my name is On Your Edison, like in FPL, because it sounds like your Edison comedian. Hope to do well and wish you luck. Thank you, mate. And that's a really good name, actually. Never heard of that one, to be honest. And good luck in UCL Fantasy and in FPL, mate. 73 points, took a -8, but was worth it to get Ronaldo in. Yeah, this is the thing with Ronaldo. I always talk about hits, try to avoid them if possible, but in the end, he probably gave you a green arrow and a really good rank. So, yeah, that's a good one. Grey Gang, yeah, I mean, he's been doing really well. There you go. Show us pick team for next week, Dylan. There it is. It's on screen, mate. And, of course, if you have anything to kind of talk about, then, yeah, I'll definitely be highlighting them. And in terms of transfers, I'll be honest, I'm probably looking to save this week. But a transfer could possibly be on the cards. And honestly, looking into the future, I'll be showing you some of my kind of transfer plans at this moment in time, but that can always change. Antonio, DCL, both not available for next week. Forced to take a hit. Best replacements, I'd say Bamford and Jimenez if you're looking for someone around that price bracket. If you can afford it, of course, an upgrade to a Lukaku or Ronaldo, it's kind of an easy pick. But if not, I'd say Jimenez or Bamford. Hey Dylan, just wondering what your team name is so I can compare my points to yours on the league. I believe my name is La Albi Celeste, both on UCL Fantasy and FPL. I feel like Gray is more better than Gallagher because Palace fixtures aren't great right now. Might bring him in on a wildcard soon if he starts performing well though. Yeah, that's true, but then again, I mean, Palace have had some tough fixtures in the weeks gone by and Gallagher's still done really well and he's on set pieces. Should have scored against Spurs. Lloris made a really good save. I think it was a block, but yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. Looking at it from a purely, fixtures point of view, Gray has great fixtures up until game week 12, so I can understand what you mean there. And if you had to pick, I'd still probably lean towards Gray. But Gallagher, even if you look at, I think since he's come into the side, in terms of expected goals, expected goal involvements, touches and all these great underlying stats, he's first, second or third in the entire league, which is very impressive, for someone who's 5.6 million. So definitely want to keep an eye on, and I don't think it's a fluke what he's doing right now. I don't expect him to continue it long term, obviously not, but he's just doing the business, and I think he can still continue it for a few more weeks at least. Did Gray get any bonus points? I don't believe he did. I think Keane got some, and then who else? I'm trying to think who else, but yeah, I don't think Gray got any. What do you think to do, Dylan? Are you playing 5 at the back? I think I will, at least at this moment in time. I'm not really too keen on Benrahma against Manchester United without Antonio. If Antonio was playing, then maybe, and I'd definitely be starting Antonio over one of these defenders. But yeah, I probably will be sticking with 5 at the back unless I make a transfer or two. And of course, if I do make 2 transfers, that would require a -4 hit once again. Yeah, I already answered that. Yes, bro, Tanganga will probably be out of sight now for some time, and Spurs are facing stress now defensively. So I've already got in Marçal for Tanganga. It's a good move, right? Yeah, I think so. Also, look, it's kind of easy to get someone in after they got 13 points, but he's got very good fixtures in the long run, and his underlying stats have been very good. The problem with Marçal has been his quality of crosses and his end product, but of course, got the points in game week 4. He's shown what he can do. And the reason why I got Cody in instead of Marçal, just talking about it from my point of view, is because I just think that Marçal could easily lose a spot at any time. And of course, that Game Week 4 performance should nail him in for a little while longer at least. But yeah, I think long term he's a good asset if you look at the fixtures, so long as he can continue to start. What do you think about getting Mane? Honestly, just around the same price you can get Salah, even Bruno Fernandes, or just use that money up front for a Lukaku or Ronaldo. So with Mane, yeah, he's a really good differential. He had so many shots against Leeds. I think he had 10. But I don't know. It's just, I don't really see the need to get him in. If he was 10 million or 11 million, then maybe. But yeah, I don't know with Mane. It's just, there's something about him. I think there's just too many other options to go with him instead. And Salah is, in my opinion, just another level ahead of him in FPL. If I take a -4 to get Lukaku, who would you recommend for a 5.4 million midfielder? Honestly, around that price, I'm not too convinced by anyone. So Podence at 5.5, I like him. He's got really low ownership, great fixtures. If he can start in the next few games, he's a fantastic choice. Then, of course, there's Gallagher at 5.6 and Damari Gray. But at 5.4 and under, I'm probably forgetting about someone. But no one really comes to mind. And those are the sorts of players I'd be looking at around that price bracket. Should I bring in Cody for a hit? Probably not. The only reason I did that myself was because I needed to get rid of Tsimikas in order to get Jota in and to get Ronaldo. That's the only reason I did it. But if you can help it, try to not take a hit for him. I did 3 hits: Sanchez, Trent, Shaw, Soufal, Salah, Greenwood, Benrahma, Rafinha, Bruno, Antonio, DCL to Ramsdale, Trent, Shaw, Cancelo, Marçal, Salah, Jota, Grealish, say Maximin, Bamford, Ronaldo. Anyone you change? I did this because I've done too many hits. I mean, let's look at the fixtures for Game Week 5. So, Newcastle against Leeds, you've got Bamford and you've got Saint-Maximin, so you're backing quite a high-scoring game, or at least some goals from both teams with them two being involved. Marçal, that's a good choice against Brentford potentially. Ronaldo against West Ham, that's fine. Grealish against Southampton, that's actually a pretty nice one, although you could always go for Torres if you back him to start. Jota against Palace, yeah, I would probably go for that. If I was free hitting this week, Jota would definitely be someone to keep an eye on. I think against Palace, Liverpool can score a few goals, no matter how good Palace played recently. Let's see, yeah, Trent, Shaw, Cancelo, those, yeah, great choices in my opinion. Ramsdale against Burnley, yeah, 4.5 million. Ramsdale's definitely one to keep an eye on now, actually, but I'm not too sure if he's the kind of best goalkeeper for the week. I think there are different teams with a higher chance of keeping a clean sheet than Arsenal. Maybe not around the same price bracket, but if you have enough money, maybe go to Jose Sarr if you back Wolves' defence enough. I don't know, I could just see Burnley nicking a goal against Arsenal. I don't know why. It could even be a draw, if I'm being completely honest. But still a really good team. Just be a bit concerned about Ramsdale and potentially Saint-Maximin, to be honest. I think there could be other better choices elsewhere. Would you play Sissoko or Duffy this week? Good question. I'd probably play Duffy, to be honest. Palace looked awful against Chelsea, but have really turned it around in a short space of time. Yeah, but to be fair, it's only one game, and it goes both ways, against Chelsea and against Spurs. And Spurs, in my opinion, just allowed them to be that good, and they played too defensively. You know, they pretty much had free holding midfielders. I don't know what Nuno Espirito Santo was thinking, but yeah, I mean, Chelsea, in my opinion, are a different level to Spurs. You know, there's no comparison between the two. So I'm not really too surprised that Palace struggled against Chelsea and then looked really good against Spurs. What to do with Antonio and Tanganga? If you can help it, I would keep Antonio and then obviously have him ready for game week 6 against Leeds. As for Tanganga, maybe move him on to Marçal. It could be a simple switch for you. Yeah, exactly. And you literally said in the next message, I'm not able to make the move until the wild card, but somehow Mendy goes over everyone's head. A nailed-on Chelsea player, likely to get 4-6 points most weeks for just 6 million. On paper, sounds like a no-brainer. True, it's just because goalkeepers tend to have a lower ceiling. Mendy can get the occasional save or bonus point, but most times he's just kind of capped at 5 or 6. And also, it wastes a potential Chelsea spot where, for example, you can get a 4.5 million goalkeeper instead, like Sanchez, who's been doing really well. You can get 2 Chelsea defenders like Rudiger and Reece James or Christensen, and you can get Lukaku up front. That's just the way I see it, but you make a really good point. And in UCL Fantasy, actually, I think Mendy's even better of an option in that one. Benrahma or Rafinha? Game week 81 points, 327 total. Really good, Steve. Honestly, looking medium to long term, I'd probably say Rafinha, especially if you have Antonio already. I don't think you need to have Benrahma too, so I'd probably go with Rafinha. I'm not liking Tony at all. Took him out for Jimenez. Yeah, if I could afford something like that, I probably would do the same thing. And let me actually show you my transfer plans at the moment. They're not, set in stone, and it's a big risk to have Torres, Greenwood and Jota as free 7 million midfielders who pretty much, they are, in my opinion, rotation risks from time to time. And of course, that would mean downgrading Tony to Scarlett and upgrading one of my defenders. In this case, it'd be Ayling to Marcos Alonso or another Chelsea defender. It doesn't have to be Marcos Alonso, but I'm thinking of something like that potentially. And then most weeks I'd play 4 at the back. So I'd be rotating between Cody and White, potentially, and then playing Torres, Greenwood, Jota, Salah, and then Antonio Ronaldo up front. By the way, just to make it clear, these aren't my transfer plans for Game Week 5. It wouldn't make any sense to take a -4, well, actually a -8 hit, really. Let me check. Is it -8? Yeah, it's a -8 hit. And also I've got Antonio in there. It wouldn't make any sense. I'd have to obviously play all of my defenders. But yeah, I wouldn't be doing it for this week. It's just some moves I have in mind for the next few game weeks. So let me know what you think there as well. And I agree, I'm not really liking Tony right now. Best options for DCL alternative. Happy to take a -4 from midfield if needed. Yeah, great question. This is the thing though, once again, the first thing I'd say to you is wait until the press conferences next week, see how Dominic Calvert-Lewin's injury progresses and if he recovers well. And if he is out and you need someone else, up front, Bamford or Raul Jimenez, I think are really good in terms of the fixtures and especially with Jimenez in terms of the underlying stats. If you want a midfielder instead, you can always make 2 free transfers, or in your case, take a -4 hit and get Gallagher or Gray if you want someone really cheap. But I wouldn't be getting Gallagher in at this moment in time, despite how good he's been and his underlying stats. And of course, you can always go for Torres, Greenwood or Jota. Whichever of those 3 you don't have already, you can always go for one of them. And even Rafinha, despite the fact that I haven't been too optimistic about Leeds, I don't think they've been very impressive this season. They've got a great run of fixtures now. This is where they can turn it around, and Rafinha is still a really good option at his price. Maybe not as good as last season, but still someone to consider. So yeah, Torres, Greenwood, Jota, or Rafinha in midfield. Up to who you pick there. And of course, you can always go for Traore if you want. Always May Lassar. And then of course up front, you can go for Bamford or Raul Jimenez. Thoughts on the Samba striker? On pens now, decent fixtures. Samba striker? Wait, okay. My brain is going absolutely... I'm literally freezing right now. Let me know. I mean, it's probably something so simple what you're saying, but I'm literally can't process it. So, yeah, let me know what you're... Oh, my God. I'm trying to think. What? Samba striker? I thought for a second you meant the Crystal Palace striker. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm probably getting that completely wrong, so my bad for that. Thinking about benching Tony this game week, he is frustrating me. Yeah, I mean, I would too, but then again, who am I going to bench him for? Benrahma, Brownhill? I'm probably going to play him unless I make 2 transfers and I get rid of him, to be honest. But yeah, he's been really infuriating at the moment. I have an issue with my defence with no money to spare. Shaw, Dyer, Tsimikas, and Marty and Williams. Should I do any changes and what? Amati is someone I'd change. And this is something I talked about from before. Vestergaard coming back. Amati's going to lose his spot. So you've got no money left. So you probably have to find money for your midfield or attack. Based on what I see from your defence, you don't have too much money invested there. So I definitely drag money away from your midfield or attack and then reinvest it into your defence. It's very important you do that because right now you've only got Shaw available really and Williams, and he's not someone you want to be starting. Captain Trent, thoughts? Yeah, I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold, he can get bonus points, clean sheets, and all of this. To be honest, he's a great captaincy shout this week. Palace could still actually, I'd say, nick a goal, but yeah, I think Trent's a great captaincy shout. Captain Lukaku this week did well. Yeah, exactly. And if you've got an intuition or a gut feeling about Trent, I'd go for it, to be honest. My team for next week is Ederson, Diaz, Laporte, Matip, Bissaka, Christensen, Gallagher, Mane, Rafinha, Ronaldo and Bamford. It looks like a free hit team. It looks really good. Of course, I'd be a bit kind of concerned about some of these players. Like Christensen, is he going to start Gallagher against Liverpool? Not too sure about that. Mane actually, someone mentioned Mane earlier. He's got a fantastic record against Palace. And of course, last season, I think in Game Week 38 it was, he scored twice against them. So Mane could be a great differential captain. If anyone's free hitting, this is the one time I would say maybe consider getting Mane in. But in terms of having him in your team long term, I'm not really a big fan. Hey man, do you think you could quickly give us a show of your UCL Fantasy team, please? It's pretty much the same as my team selection. Talha Ahmed, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing a deadline stream around 4 PM British summertime where you can see my team and any changes that I make from this point onwards, because it's literally the exact same as it is in my team selection video. I've made no changes from that. So who would you choose for, say, Max and Ramsdale? Only have 0.4 million and don't back Torres to start. And was it a good decision for me to hit because I've taken too many hits and my players had bad fixtures? Yeah, if you took like minus 12 hits or more, then yeah, I'd probably say it's probably the best thing to do to free hit. Of course, it's not ideal, but you could potentially navigate the future blanks and doubles in a good way. So not too much of an issue. And yeah, bad fixtures, of course. It's happening to a lot of players this week. I mean, I'm also going to have some pretty poor fixtures, especially when you look at some of my attackers, but it is what it is. And who would you choose for, say, Maximan and Ramsdale? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Let me look at the fixtures once again. So Ramsdale is a good option, but I just think Jose Sarr, if you can get enough money against Brentford, I think Wolves could win 1 or 2-0 or maybe just draw 0-0. That is a potential option you can go for. Of course, maybe it's a bit riskier to have a Wolves defender and Jose Sarr, so you're essentially doubling up instead of just getting an Arsenal goalkeeper potentially. Other than that, I mean, maybe Bachmann against Norwich could be someone to consider as well. Although I'm not too keen on Watford and their defence, to be honest. That's just the way I see it. And then other than that, yeah, I wouldn't really be recommending these kind of 6 million goalkeepers, especially when you look at Mendy. He plays Spurs, and despite the fact that I think Chelsea can keep a clean sheet and win that game comprehensively, Spurs have the ability to score a goal out of nothing. City against Southampton, if you have enough money, you can always go for Ederson, but yeah, I'd probably say Jose Sarr or Bachmann would be my 2 kind of goalkeeper picks. But Ramsdale is a good one, don't get me wrong. As for Saint-Maximin, that's where I'm going to be a bit harsher, and I'm going to say I don't like Saint-Maximin at all, to be honest. He does play Leeds, to be fair, and he can do something. I'm not going to deny him that. But yeah, let's actually see. I'll be honest. Let me see his price. I've never actually looked at him and his price. I think he's 5.5, isn't he? Or 6? Hey, where is he? Wait. Hey, Saint Maximin. Oh, what did I put? Alan Saint Maximin? Oh, Jesus, what am I doing? Anyway, let me try find this geezer. I'm pretty sure I've got it sorted by midfielders. Let's just go to Newcastle. Amateur mistake on stream. But anyway, let's see. Saint Maximin. Wait, am I okay in the head? Oh, he's a striker. That's why I'm an idiot. Yeah, he's a forward now. 6.5 million. Yeah, I mean, honestly, look, if I was free hitting this week, I would probably be I'd potentially look at Bamford against Newcastle. I think that could be good. Calvert-Lewin if he's fit against Villa. But to be fair, Martinez is going to be back, and I don't know, I'm not really too convinced by Everton, but probably look at Bamford. Let's see the other strikers. I'd still go for Ronaldo. Maybe even Lukaku, but I would prefer Ronaldo. So yeah, Ronaldo, Bamford potentially. Yeah, I mean, maybe Saint Maximin. Maybe, you know, he's not too bad, to be honest. But still, it's kind of a personal opinion here. I'm not really too big of a fan. Actually, City against Southampton, I really like Gabriel Jesus. If you're on a free hit, I think a really good differential could be Gabriel Jesus. He didn't do the business against Leicester, which actually I thought he would. He tends to do well against them. But I think against Southampton, Gabriel Jesus could be a fantastic one. But of course, all team dependent. You might not even have the funds for that. Yeah, I can't believe it. I forgot that Saint Maximin got moved to a forward, so that's my mistake. Honestly, that just shows you how much I look at Newcastle players. Apart from Callum Wilson, I haven't given any of them the time of day, really. Let's see. Yeah, thoughts on Wilson, someone asks. He could be out for several weeks, even beyond the international break, so he is a concern. I'd probably get rid of him anyway. It's not a free hit team, just plan my team from the start to not need to play my wild card early. I'm thinking about captaining Mane, but Ronaldo turns up pretty much every game. Which one, Mane or Ron? Yeah, I mean, on a free hit, I'd say Mane, but you're saying it's not a free hit team. Looking long term, I'd rather have Ronaldo, so I'd just rather have him. But for Game Week 5 specifically, I'd say Mane. That's just my opinion. I'm a little confused on how UCL Fantasy works. If you make subs, does that mean that you're getting points for the players that are coming off the bench and the ones that you had in the lineup before? If you take off the players, so let's say you have someone on your lineup, let's say Lewandowski, let's say he blanks and you take him off, his points won't count at all. Even if, for example, someone gets 5 or 6 points and you take them off, it doesn't matter. Their points will not count. As soon as you take them out, you cannot reverse that decision and it's done. And you know, it goes the other way as well. So if you have someone on your bench, you bring them on, their points will count, even if they get sent off or whatever. It doesn't matter if they get a hat-trick, their points will definitely be counting. So it's basically whoever's in your lineup by the end of the match day, those players, their points are going to count towards your overall score. And you have plenty of time between the Tuesday after those games are done and before the Wednesday matches start. You have plenty of time to make substitutions, and also you can change your captaincy. You can check out my UCL Fantasy How to Play video. I break down all the rules and everything there. Same with my first draft. I also show how to play the game, and also my team selection video. I actually show live. I do a live demonstration about substitutions and how they work. So hopefully that makes it clear for you. I think getting rid of Antonio, big risk, but makes my team better, as my plan is to downgrade Benrahma to grey, Antonio to 4.5, then next week maybe put in Alonso. Is he guaranteed? And maybe put in a Wolves defender. I don't think Alonso's guaranteed, honestly. He's been very good in FPL this season, and I'm interested in him, of course. I'm not going to deny that, but I don't think he's completely nailed. Like, when is Ben Chilwell going to come back? I just find it very weird that he's suddenly not really featuring, to be honest with Chilwell. I don't know what's happening there. So I think he's going to come in at some stage, whether it's in Champions League or in the Premier League. And as for a Wolves defender, they're good options. I definitely recommend them, especially Saiss, Cody, Semedo, and also Marçal. They're all good options, to be honest. Marçal, probably the best value for money. And then if you want a bit more, maybe not nailed, but if you want someone with a bit more attacking potential, at least in terms of underlying stats, there is Semedo and Saiss. Saiss is always really threatening. And yeah, fair enough. You know, getting rid of Antonio might help your team overall. But then again, it's just, he's such a good player, in my opinion, in FPL this season. But no one's essential. That's just the way I see it. Yeah, Maximin's a forward. Calvert-Lewin is out for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe more. Wow, yeah. This is the thing, like, initially, like, I'm not going to, by the way, claim that I knew that. I'm surprised that he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. But I had a feeling that he wouldn't start against Burnley. But after people pointed out that he's always been flagged and he always plays, and I just thought, yeah, he's probably just going to play anyway. That's when I changed my mind, but I never expected him to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Of course, though, Rafa's comments, I think on the Friday, they did kind of reveal that he had a persisting injury problem and they need to deal with it. So it's best to, instead of just, pretty much put injections in him and keep him playing, it's probably best for him to fully recover. So thanks for that. Please answer, how is my Game Week 5 wildcard? Goalkeeper Foster, Sanchez, Trent, James, Marcel, Livramento, Duffy, Salah, Jota, Rafinha, Traore, Torres, Ronaldo, Bamford. Really good team. That's probably something similar to what I'd wildcard to if obviously I was playing the chip. In terms of the defence, I'd be slightly concerned. The reason why I say that is because Livramento, good choice, 4.1 million. It's a good fifth option to have. Duffy, let's wait and see how long he stays in the side, but I think for the time being he should be fairly nailed, so that shouldn't be an issue. I'm just saying if Duffy starts to become a rotation risk, if Reece James is occasionally on the bench, that's when you could be down to the bare bones. But honestly, that's a really good team. I'm literally nitpicking there. It's solid, and to be fair, you could always get another goalkeeper instead of Foster because he is flagged and he could potentially go down to 3.9 million. So you might as well just get another goalkeeper who's less at risk of going down in price. But yeah, that's fine. I'm not a big fan of Traore, but he's got the fixtures, he's got the stats, so he's not a bad option. And Bamford could come good, so you could be ahead of the curve there. Should I bring in Sissoko or Duffy for Antonio and double up Brighton defence against Leicester, or sell Antonio for someone else? Honestly, this is just my opinion. I'd rather keep Antonio if possible, but if you really need to get rid of him, I'd probably look to get him another striker in like Bamford or Jimenez if you don't have them already. Suggest a 4.5 million midfielder who's most likely to give attack and returns. In my opinion, Brownhill. That's just might be a bit biased. I've got him in myself. I'd say he is the most likely. Sissoko as well, to be fair. It's just his end product is awful. And he could have scored this week. Same with Brownhill. So those two come to mind. Gilmore could get, I don't know, the occasional assist or something. But I'd mainly be looking at Brownhill and Sissoko, honestly. The Samba strikers, none other than Richarlison. Oh, okay, Alpha, I have to say, yeah. Samba, Brazilian. I hate Richarlison, I have to say. Let's not even get started on that guy. But yeah, I think he could be a good option with Calvert-Lewin out, but I hate him. Best Wolves defender. In terms of value for money, I'd have to say Marcel, but the reason why I didn't go for him myself is because I'm just not too sure if he's going to be nailed in the long term. But of course, if he keeps playing like he did in Game Week 4, then no problems. I still think his end product isn't great, but of course, when you get 13 points, everyone's going to want you. So I'd say arguably Marcel, but Cody, Semedo, and Saiss. I think Saiss is really good. I think he can do what Marcel did, but he can do it more often. That's just my opinion. Who to go in for place of DCL, Bamford or Jimenez or Pukki? I'd say Bamford or Jimenez, and at this moment in time, I'd probably lean towards Jimenez actually, but not much in it, to be honest. Bamford might outscore Jimenez, but Jimenez is cheaper, and you can always get Rafinha to cover Leeds in the midfield. Ari, Chelsea, Tuchel likes Rudiger and Aspi, and others are a rotation risk, exactly nil. Alonso has been the favoured left wing back, and until Chilwell takes over that position, I'll be keeping him. Yeah, that's a really good point you make, and that's why Rudiger and Azpilicueta, not only are they in my UCL Fantasy team, but I just also like them in the long term. And even in FPL, I'm thinking of getting both of them in, potentially, or maybe Rudiger and Alonso, and then get Lukaku up front. That's definitely something I consider on a wild card around Game Week 7. I had Manquillo on my bench and he got 7 points and DCL didn't play. Would I get those points, or is that not how it works? Yeah, no, you would, unless, I think you should, no matter what, really. If Manquillo is first on your bench, then yes, you will get him on. But if he's second or third, that's when it becomes tricky and someone else can come on instead. What are your thoughts about Greenwood's minutes? The same as before. I'm not going to change my mind. I think he's going to be in and out of the team in the weeks to come. I don't know exactly when, but with the Champions League coming in, with other competitions, with United having so much depth, Martial, Sancho, Rashford's going to come back eventually, Greenwood himself, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Donny van de Beek, they've got so many choices, Cavani. Yeah, I just really, looking at it, I think he's just going to be in and out of the team. He's not going to be getting 90 minutes or even getting 60, 70 minutes all the time. There's going to be the occasional appearance off the bench. That's just the way I see it, but still, really good option and can do really well. Marcel, James Matip with Bamford up front, Marcel, Cody, Trent with ASM up front, or Marcel, Rudiger, James with Bamford up front. I'd go for Marcel, Rudiger, James with Bamford up front. MH Rizvi. Thanks so much, bro. Makes sense now. I also have chosen a couple of players that you have chosen for UCL. Fair enough. I mean, what I would say is, definitely don't copy me. I just think, obviously, play your own game, have fun, and enjoy it, and obviously make mistakes, learn from them. And also, I could get it completely wrong, if I'm being honest. It happens to everyone. Everyone has kind of an off season potentially, and I just recommend. You might even have better picks if you go for your own ones. That's just the way I see it. But of course, it's impossible for everyone to have a different team. There's always going to be some similarities, but I wouldn't be copying, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just the way I see it. What striker should I get? Keep, because I have all of them. Antonio, Wilson, or DCL. Which striker should you keep? I'd keep Antonio, honestly. Wilson and DCL, they look like they could be out for several weeks, so I'd move both of them out instead. Matip or Castagna? I'm not a big fan of Matip because he's injury prone. I expect him to break down at some point, and also Liverpool could occasionally rest him because he's injury prone. And you always want Trent instead. And in terms of other Liverpool players for your, free Liverpool quota, I'd rather have Salah and Jota, to be honest. So, yeah, I'd say Castagna, but even then, I'm not really a big fan of Castagna. Hi, Dylan, great content this season. Fernandes and Antonio for Greenwood and Ronaldo for a -4. Ooh. I think it makes sense, yeah. I don't know who your other strikers are and what your team situation is. Of course, I'd always want to keep Antonio, but if you can get Ronaldo and you get Greenwood, who to be fair could be an issue with his minutes, I still think that hit could pay off, whether it's this week or in the weeks to come, who knows, but I think that's a decent set of transfers. Lukaku plus 4.5 million non-playing striker for DCL and Antonio, or Jimenez and Bamford for DCL and Antonio. Already have Ronaldo. Oh, great question. If you have enough squad depth, I would rather have Lukaku and a 4.5 million striker, because Lukaku from Game Week 7 onwards, very good option in the long term. Will we have a UCL deadline stream tomorrow? Really waiting for it because you have all the important information. Yeah, mate, thank you for asking that. And it's already set up. So if you check my channel and you check the UCL Fantasy playlist, it's already live. And it's going to take place around 4 p.m. British summertime. So hopefully you can tune in for that. And of course, I normally do a deadline stream an hour or so before the matches start, but I'm not able to tomorrow. So that's why I'm going to be going with 4 p.m. That's the time chosen by the viewers, and that's what we're going with. Let's see. Let me try whiz through these because I've missed a few of them and I realise I'm quite a while away. So my apologies for that. I've been a bit slow. Which striker should I keep? Yeah, DCL, Wilson, or Antonio? I'd keep DCL. No, Antonio. Sarr or Traore? I mean, I said Sarr before, and I'd probably still say him. I prefer him as an asset. I have more faith in him in terms of his end product, but I think Wolves are a better attacking unit than Watford. Watford are very on and off. They're very inconsistent, and Wolves have better fixtures. So maybe Traore is the better pick. I just prefer Sarr over Traore, but of course, Wolves, the fixtures and all of that go in Traore's favour. What strike? Oh, you already answered that. What happened with you and Richarlison, man? I sense tension. It's just he always chats garbage, really. That's literally it. And he's Brazilian. He obviously, I don't hate Brazilians, by the way. Let me make that clear. But there's a rivalry between Argentina and Brazil, and of course, after the Copa America final, where of course he was crying and stuff, he still goes out of his way to always, make these comments and just being cocky and arrogant and just chatting absolute rubbish to get people's attention. So that's why I don't like him. And even before that, he scores a goal against Arsenal, which was actually a Leno own goal, and he's dancing like a chicken, like it's his goal. Like, calm the fuck down, dude. But yeah, I don't like him, honestly. Like, he's probably one of the players I dislike the most. Ran over. Who are you backing to win the Champions League? Great question, and this is something I'll probably talk about tomorrow. I don't know about one team yet. I need to see more from everyone, but if I had to kind of make a short list, I would say Manchester City, PSG, Chelsea. Once again, I think they have a good chance. They've got a really good defence and squad. And maybe, I don't know, Bayern Munich. If they had Hansi Flick, I'd really back them. I'm not so sure of Nagelsmann. I think it might take them a bit of time. But Bayern are in my top 5 probably. And other than that, maybe Manchester United, maybe. It's a bit kind of UK-centric what I've just done there. And there's also Liverpool, who have a very good chance, of course. those are kind of the 6 teams I back the most. I don't back Barcelona for sure. I don't think they have any chance. Real Madrid, same thing. Atletico could be like the 7th or 8th kind of, outside pick, but not really too sure about that. Yeah, I'd mainly be looking at those teams. So pretty much the top 4 from England, PSG and Bayern Munich. One of those. If I had to narrow it down, I'm not sure, to be honest. Probably PSG, City, or Chelsea. Probably one of those 3. I hope Chelsea don't win it again. Jeez, please don't. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Many thanks for answering, everyone. Makes you a standout watch. Thank you very much, Neil. I really appreciate it, mate. Do you think Semedo is nailed on? He nearly scored against Watford. It's not completely nailed on, but I'd say relatively nailed, yeah. I got the same points as you this week, says Francis. Really good, mate. And yeah, the template is very strong. And a lot of our teams are similar, but that's really good, mate. Tuchel has said that Ben Chilwell returned to Chelsea mentally exhausted. Wow, okay, yeah, that's an interesting quote there. This is the thing, though. I don't really just expect Chilwell to never play again. I think he's going to steal some minutes from Alonso. That's why I'm not too keen on... Well, I mean, I'm keen on getting Alonso, but I'm not too sure if it's the right call when I can just get Rudiger, who's going to be kind of set and forget, really. What striker should I... Yeah, I already answered that question. Please don't spam the chat. For the person who asked for a midfielder for 5.4, Thiago would be amazing, and he's a differential pick, and against Palace, and he's on for. Really interests me. Really good suggestion, Moo. He could actually do really well there. And of course, Harvey Elliott is injured, of course. Hopefully he gets well soon. Greenwood or Pogba? I still prefer Greenwood. I'm going to maintain that. But of course, Pogba, 7 assists in 4 games. Really impressive. Thinking of DCL to Jimenez and Benrahma to Rafinha for a hit. Thoughts? Looks pretty good, and DCL is potentially out for several weeks, so that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a good hit. Greenwood benched in UCL is a good sign for FPL, right? Yeah, I'd say so. If he's benched in Champions League, I'd expect him to start the weekend, and vice versa. Sanchez, Trent, Shaw, Veltman, Ayling, Tsimikas, Rafinha, Benrahma, Salah, Fernandes, Ings, Antonio Obafemi with 2 free transfers. Any suggestions? Yeah, I'd get rid of Ings. I'd probably get Bamford or Jimenez, and I'd use that money to potentially upgrade Tsimikas, and you can then play him to cover for the absence of Antonio. Unless, you don't want to just be playing one striker, even if it's just for 1 game week, then you can always move Antonio on, but I'd probably do that. I'd move Ings on for Jimenez or Bamford, up to who you go for, and I'd move Tsimikas on to someone, how much money would you have? Yeah, around 5 million, maybe just a bit less. And you've got Veltman, Ayling, Trent, Shaw. You can go for Marçal or even Semedo or Saiss. Worth a -4 to sell DCL? Potentially, to be honest. Wow, didn't expect a response. Appreciate it. I mean, I try my best to always respond to everyone. I have missed a few today. I apologize for that. But sometimes it's even more hectic. There's so many comments. What do you think about Fabinho as a midfielder in UCL Fantasy? Ball recoveries, yeah. A really good shout. He's not my favourite. I think there could be better options. Especially, if you look at, I'd say, value for money. But he is one to look out for. He gets a lot of ball recoveries. And in the Premier League, he's been getting double digits in some games. So that's a good shout. Should I keep Lloris, Chelsea home or Raya, Wolves away at goalkeeper? Thank you. I'd go for Raya. I don't expect Brentford to keep a clean sheet, but I think they're just more likely than Spurs are, honestly. So yeah, I'd go for that. Brilliant stream as always, mate, but I'm afraid I have to cut it short. Great turnout for 10, 11 p.m. stream. Keep it up, mate. I'll be back on the channel tomorrow at 4 p.m. for UCL. Have a great night, Dylan. Thank you, Josh. And of course, yeah, I realise it's very late. I appreciate everyone who has been tuning in. And of course, enjoy the weekend that's just passed. Enjoy the week that's to come. And hopefully, FPL and UCL Fantasy go well. Thank you very much, Josh. Noah says, I don't have any points added, but he was my player next to the keeper on the bench. Will those points come in later, or will I just not get them? Yeah, that basically means he's your first sub. When I mean first substitute, I basically mean in terms of your outfield players. So if you look here, Benrahma would be my first substitute for Game Week 5. So yeah, he will come on and enjoy those 7 points, man. I mean, not many people can say they got Manquillo coming off the bench with 7 points away from home against Manchester United. Should I trade Obafemi and Benrahma out for Bamford and a 5 million midfielder? I mean, this is the thing. I don't really see anyone around 5 million that appeals to me. There's no really kind of Southcheck option this season. If you kind of upgrade a bit more to a 5.5 or 5.7, you've got Gray, you've got Gallagher, and also Podence potentially. So yeah, you could do that, but maybe just go for a 4.5 million midfielder and use the money elsewhere. Wow, I've never seen someone hate on a player so much. Yeah. it is what it is, you know, but I just can't stand people who are just arrogant, really. And when they're not even that good, you know, Richarlison isn't a good player. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I mean, yeah, fair enough. For Brazil, you know, being objective, I think he's good for them. And it's not like he's completely terrible. I'm not going to say that, but, you know, I don't see Neymar, for example, being that arrogant and cocky when Neymar's 10 times the player Richarlison is. But anyway, let's not talk about that guy. I was going to transfer out Saka for Rafinha as I have 0.2 million in the bank, but Antonio is now injured and I can sell him at 7.8, 0.1 million profit to get Bamford. Should I do that instead? Well, that's a great question. I'd still keep Antonio. That's personally what I think. Why do you have Alonso? I mean, I don't have him. He's just kind of an option. I like his attacking upside, but I can always go for Rudiger instead or Reece James. That's just an idea. You know, that doesn't mean I'm definitely going to get Alonso. It's just kind of some transfer plans. And yeah, instead of Benrahma, I'd have 7.2. I could get Rafinha or I can get Ferran Torres. You know, just depends on who I go for. So it's just some kind of transfer plans I have right now, but they can definitely change within the next week or so. And to be honest, one possibility is doing absolutely nothing and ending up with this team with 5 defenders, 3 midfielders and 2 strikers. But Ivan Toney is someone I want to get rid of, to be honest. Whether it's upgrading him or downgrading him to a 4.5 million and upgrading a midfielder or defender, I'm all down for that, to be honest. Worth doing Benrahma and Calvert-Lewin for Bamford and Rafinha, or DCL and Antonio out for Bamford and Jimenez, both for a -4. Great question. I'm not too sure about doubling up on Leeds right now. Of course, they've got great fixtures. I expect them to improve, but I don't know if I'd double up on them just yet. I'd probably do the... Yeah, but this is the thing. I'd rather keep Antonio. So I'd go for the first set of options. We ain't winning the Champions League, mate. Who's Shivan says that. Who do you support? I can't see your... I think, yeah, Man United. I think you support Man United. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to fall short in Champions League and Premier League, but you're in my kind of top 5 or 6 to win it. I put Bayern Munich ahead of you and probably the others I mentioned, but I'd say you're within the top 6, you know, kind of favourites. That's my opinion anyway. Why would you have Alonso? He is the second highest scoring defender at the moment and only 6 points behind Trent and a lot cheaper. Yeah. I mean, I can understand why some people are hesitant. Even I am. It's just his minutes. You know, they're going to be a problem later down the line. But yeah, I mean, he's been doing so well. Sao Antonio, if yes, Bamford, I'd keep Antonio because of the fixtures afterwards. Of course, Man United was always going to be a tough fixture. I'd just keep him, honestly. Benrahma, keep or sell? Yeah, honestly, look, he's still a good option, in my opinion, especially for his price, but I'm thinking of selling him at some point within the next few weeks. And I just jumped on the kind of train too late, and yeah, it just hasn't done the business. Watkins looks very good against Chelsea. Yeah, he had some very good shots and Mendy made some great saves. That's a good point. Watkins could be one to look out for in the future when Villa have great fixtures, but not for the time being, in my opinion. Do I take a -4 to bring in Rafinha for Sarr? I'd probably just keep Sarr for now and then bring in Rafinha later down the line. Would Modric be good for UCL? I think so. Not the greatest option, but yeah, he can get ball recovery points, the occasional assist or goal. He's on some set pieces, so I think he's a good choice. I mean, that's pretty lucky. So I finished on 69 points. If those points get added, yeah, that's a good score, to be honest. And, you know, trust me, you're going to have some bad luck. So you won't be pointing out these kind of lucky moments. You'll just be saying, you know what? I finally deserve a bit of it. Hi, I sold Antonio for Bamford. Now DCL's injured. Should I take a -4 or keep DCL and change it next week? Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you have enough cover and you have a starting 11, I'd probably just, you know, stay with it and avoid the hit. But DCL is out for potentially 2 to 3 weeks. I have Antonio and DCL. Thinking of benching Antonio and taking in Bamford for DCL. Thoughts? Ooh, yeah. I think that's what I'd probably go for, if not Jimenez. But that's up to you. I think that's a really good set of transfers, Sean. Thiago got 7 points and scored an offside goal and only 5.4 million. Picked by 0.7% of people in FPL. Yeah, you mentioned him before, and that's a really good shout, in my opinion. Richarlison disrespected Van Dijk. Yeah, exactly, Raul. That's another one I forgot. You see what I mean? Anyway, let's not talk about that guy. Armstrong, a good choice at striker instead of Antonio. Yeah, I mean, I've always talked about Armstrong in terms of cheap strikers. I'm not a big fan of him in terms of getting him for my own team, but if you want a cheap striker, him, Pookie, and also now, of course, Edouard from Palace. What a debut. And let me actually double check his price. But fantastic debut. Hello. Oh, I'm searching midfielders again. No wonder I got it wrong. Edouard. Here we go. 6.5 million, of course. Let's not overreact. Let's not say, oh, get him in just yet. The fixtures are really poor. But, for example, from game week 9 onwards, why not get him? Even against Arsenal away, I think Edouard can score. That's the fixture. I'm imagining it now. He scored against Arsenal at the Emirates, yeah. Even from game week 8, Edouard could be a really good choice, to be honest. So, one to look out for, of course. He's already being owned by quite a few people because of the 12 points. Yeah, what a performance against Spurs. I mean, unbelievable, that debut. I'd say, Man United fans are going to hate me. Of course, Ronaldo's Ronaldo. We have big expectations of him always. But Edouard had an even better debut. He came off the bench and changed the game. So, yeah, of course, but Ronaldo's Ronaldo. Let's not, I'm not hating on him. Trust me on that. Should I trade Obafemi and Benrahma out for Bamford and 5 million midfielder? Once again, I'm not really a big fan of the 5 million midfielders. So, if anything, yeah, do those transfers, but get a 4.5 million midfielder instead. Doing Antonio to Saint Maximin, fair enough. I'm not a big fan of Saint Maximin in FPL, but he's a nice player to watch. He's, very good on the eye. Going to get rid of Benrahma on a wild card? Yeah, on a wild card, I'd potentially get rid of him. He's still a good choice, but he faces United without Antonio as well, and just better choices elsewhere with the fixtures and underlying stats. What do you think of having Vardy until game week 7, then going to Lukaku? Great question. Yeah, that's probably, that could be an option. I wouldn't be bringing in Vardy just yet, or as in, I wouldn't be getting him in for my own team, but if you have him already, keep him and then get Lukaku in 7. Sane is going under the radar in UCL Fantasy, yeah. Even for Germany, under Hansi Flick, he's been looking really, really good. So, yeah, Sane could be one to look out for. He could actually finally rejuvenate his career. Such a talented player. I have for now, should I keep against United knowing I have 0.4 million in the bank and I have to take a hit to get rid of him? Yeah, I'll probably keep him, to be honest. I wouldn't want to take a hit, but if you're getting a really good player in his stead, like Jota, then it could be worth considering, but you can't. You've got 0.4. Simicast to Brandon Williams, so I can get Jota for Ali, -4. Good. Yeah, honestly, those are 2 good transfers, and Brandon Williams is your 5th choice defender, and Jota's a great upgrade on Ali, so I'd do that. Who would you choose between Ings and Watkins when fixtures are good? Great question. Oh, that's a really good question. Based on the Game Week 4 performance, I'd say Watkins, but no, Danny Ings is really good. Watkins is less injury prone, so that's a plus. But then again, you look at Ings, he's more likely to be on penalties. Behind El Ghazi, he's the main penalty taker. And Ings is very clinical. I think Watkins needs a lot of chances to score, and now both of them are going to be sharing the kind of goals. So maybe Danny Ings is still the better choice, but Watkins, keep an eye out on him. A few people have mentioned him, including you. So yeah, definitely one to look out for. Rest in peace, wildcarders that brought in DCL and Antonio. Yeah, I know plenty of people did that, but that's unlucky. Those are 2 good players, and no one expected Antonio to get sent off and DCL to be injured still. No problem, Sean. Thank you for your question. Son, Perica out for Rafinha and Bamford Jimenez -4. Which one would you go for, Bamford or Jimenez? Great question. Good transfers. I agree with them, and I think they can do really well for you. Who would I go for? Oh my God. You know what? Let's just look at the fixtures long term, just to have a refresh. So with Wolves, only Everton really, that's kind of marked as on red on the FDR, and they don't face anyone really from the top 5 until game week 15. Really good run. And then you look at we look at Leeds. Yeah, they've got Leicester and Tottenham. They've got a few tougher games. West Ham's another one. Honestly, look, if you're asking me who do I prefer, and that's obviously what you're doing, I prefer Bamford in terms of I think he's going to outscore him. But because you've already got Rafinha and Jimenez is cheaper and it gives you a bit more money to play with elsewhere, I think Jimenez offers you better value for money potentially. Of course, we haven't seen him score yet since his return from injury, but hopefully he does soon. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's really tough. That's why I'm literally differing. I'm being like a politician. I'm swerving. Yeah, I mean, because you already have Rafinha, I'd go for Jimenez, but honestly, there's not much in it. It's like a 51-49 call, which is why you're asking me. But yeah, it could go either way. Would you replace Antonio, and if so, who would you choose? Edouard, Bamford, or someone else? I wouldn't go with Edouard just yet, as I said. I'd look for game week 8 or 10 onwards when Palace have a good set of fixtures. Of course, he did really well against Tottenham. That was marked as a difficult game. But yeah, I'd go for Bamford or if not Jimenez. Edouard could be a good bench player in my opinion, definitely. Although it could be a bit of a tricky one where you don't know when to bench him. He could do really well against the big teams, and then against the smaller teams he doesn't even play, or he just doesn't do the business. Thanks Dylan, just not sure about keeping Antonio when I brought him in at 7.7 and I can sell him now at 7.8 for Bamford. Is a bad thing. I got Torres to get Rafinha in next game week 2 for the few 4 next fixtures. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe in your situation it's best to sell him. It's just kind of a personal opinion. If possible, keep Antonio because against Leeds in game week 6, he just looks primed for a really big score. Roll transfer or Benrahma to Rafinha. Looking at the next 3, I'd get Benrahma in. I'd get Rafinha in if possible. I think you should roll your transfer 100%. I think you're on about Mark, but it even applies to my team as well. That's also a potential option. I'm going to remove DCL. Any options? And should I bench Antonio or transfer him out after his red card? I'd keep Antonio, honestly. I think he's got some great fixtures after game week 5, after his suspension is done. And in terms of DCL replacements, Bamford or Jimenez are the standouts around the same price. Yeah, I agree. Lilovac benching Antonio. Albin says, rate my team: Sarr, James, Trent, Semedo, Sarr, Salah, Jota, Torres, Traore, Ronaldo, Bamford. Interesting, you've got triple Wolves. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Traore myself, but I can see why you've got him. And in general, that's a good team, to be honest. I like your defence a lot. And you've got a really good 5 million goalkeeper, potentially. Yeah, Ronaldo, Bamford, you could be ahead of the curve there. That's a good team. I'd give it a 7 or 8 out of 10 if you want a rating. But of course, it's more about the kind of feedback. I don't know what your bench is like, so that could be a potential issue. But still, the starting lineup looks good. You sure Nuno Mendes starts for PSG, or is it 50-50? Well, I need to double check that. Let me actually check the PSG lineups in the last game. But he was actually bought for a hefty price tag. I think 40 million. And even City were interested. They were offering around 20 million. And he's highly rated. Even, I think, for Portugal at the Euros, he was playing some games, or at least in the build-up to that tournament. Let's actually check PSG's last lineup. I don't know why it went with sports. Let's get PSG's lineup up. Of course, this doesn't mean he's going to start in the Champions League, but just something to keep an eye on. So let's see. Against Clermont Foot, let's see. Diallo played at left-back. Was Nuno Mendes on the bench? I can't see him. Yeah, he was on the bench and he came on. Yeah, maybe Nuno. That doesn't really help actually because he could be rested for the Champions League. That's a really good question you asked. I'll be honest, I'm not completely sure what Pochettino's going to do. If you're asking me, I think he might rotate between the two, and depending on the opposition, he might go for Nuno Mendes. I think against kind of weaker teams where he wants to attack more, and then against the kind of better teams where he wants a bit more defensive, I'd say solidity, he'd go for Diallo. So that's a tough one. I might stay clear for now, and then if Mendes does, start most games in Champions League, I'd be looking to get him in. Bamford or Jimenez? It's really a tough one. I mean, I said before to someone else, I'd go for Jimenez if you already have Rafinha, but otherwise it's 50-50, and if you have enough money and it doesn't affect the rest of your team, you could just go for Bamford, but it's a 50-50 call. Benrahma to Rafinha and DCL to Bamford -4. I hope I did not do something bad. No, I don't think it's bad. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Leeds right now, but still, both of them did really well last season. They've got great fixtures. They can turn it around. I don't think there's a bad transfers. Richarlison for DCL. Yeah, it could be a nice like-for-like switch, but I prefer Jimenez or Bamford. 85 points this week. Is that good? Yeah, I think you know that, mate. That's a really good score. Just joined the stream late. Are you keeping Tony? Sorry if you already talked about him. No worries, mate. Thank you for joining in Galactic Hobbit. What a name. Honestly, I'm thinking of getting rid of him, but maybe not for this week. I might just roll the transfer, play this team that you see on screen, 5 defenders, 3 midfielders and 2 attackers, and maybe next week, that's when I can make 2 free transfers, and I can do something like this, where I can downgrade Tony to a 4.5 million option, and then upgrade either Benrahma to someone like Torres, or upgrade, let's say, an Ayling to a Chelsea defender like Marcos Alonso. Got to sleep, Dylan. You've got a long day tomorrow, says Jamie. Yeah, you know that right, mate. You know that right. Don't worry about that. Obviously, should be a good one. Thank you for joining in. What up, Dylan? Dylan here. Another Dylan. Tony to Jimenez or Antonio to Bamford. Don't want to take a hit. Can't afford Tony to Bamford, which would be ideal. Likely wildcard in either game week 7 or 8. Great question, and obviously nice to see another Dylan around. I'd go for Tony to Jimenez. I think that's a great upgrade, and I'd keep Antonio for game week 6. So yeah, I'd go for Tony to Jimenez. I think Ings took the pen because Watkins is not on the pitch last time. Yeah, true. But Watkins is actually quite a poor penalty taker compared to Ings. So Watkins could be third in command there. That's just my opinion though. Thank you for the response. No problem, Lilovac. Obviously, I remember you from the years gone by. Really appreciate you joining in as always. Do you know when bonus points come in for the Everton game? They should be added any time now if they haven't already. So within the next hour, they definitely will. And you should get your updated final rank. Hakimi will be like Trent in UCL Fantasy. I mean, in the years gone by, he's actually been really good. It's just he's played for kind of, I'd say, weak defensive teams like Dortmund and Inter. But yeah, he could be really good. I don't know. It's just he's got City in his group and Leipzig, so I'm not too sure. Keep or sell Antonio? I'd keep him, mate. Benrahma to Rafinha or DCL to Bamford or both and take a -4 hit? Great question. I'd probably move DCL to Bamford only because DCL's out for several weeks potentially, and Benrahma to Rafinha you can just do next week. And remember, you can always get Jimenez instead of Bamford. Thoughts on Ramsdale as a 4.5 million on a wild card? Yeah, he could be one to look out for, but don't be surprised if Arteta then somehow goes for Leno in some of these games. He could actually, play Ramsdale in some games and then, Leno in the others. But maybe Ramsdale will now be the kind of main goalkeeper. I'm not too sure, but obviously from the 4.5 million options available, Arsenal have got some very good fixtures, and he's someone I'd definitely recommend. Vardy on a wild card, Vardy or Bamford plus Jimenez? I prefer Bamford plus Jimenez. Although, to be fair with Vardy, you can use him as a placeholder for a Lukaku or a Ronaldo. It's not good having 3 Liverpool players and 3 Man United players, bro. No depth into that squad. Fair enough. I mean, I get what you mean. It's kind of a bit of an over-reliance on those teams, but once again, I might wildcard in a few weeks, and of course, the structure of my team will change. I probably won't be having Greenwood, of course, I'll be changing a few things. Even Shaw could also not be there. As for Liverpool, Jota's pretty much just the kind of, I'd say, short to medium term option up until the wildcard potentially in Game Week 7 or 8, and then I can always kind of move him on to someone else. But fair enough, it's a good point you make. Any changes I should make to my team that played this week? Sanchez, Steele, Trent, Christensen, Marcel, Livramento, Williams, Jota, Salah, Grealish, Torres, Gray, and Ronaldo, Antonio, Dennis. It's a good team. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Dennis, but from his price, at his position, he's obviously the best option. Gray's been doing really well for you. You've got Torres and Grealish. Yeah, maybe from that team, I'd maybe move on Grealish to someone else. You can always go for Rafinha, actually, if you back Leeds to improve. Livramento, Williams. Yeah, I'd probably look to move Grealish onto Rafinha, for example, then upgrade Williams and have more defensive depth, because you've got Christensen, who's not going to be playing every week for Chelsea, and then you're kind of relying on Livramento or Williams to come in, and really you just want them as a last resort for a bit more squad depth. So I would say move on Grealish to someone cheaper in midfield like Rafinha, and then use that money to upgrade Williams. That's what I'd say. Are you doing UCL Fantasy, says George? Yes, I am, mate. I've made 3 videos. I've made a how to play guide for beginners. I've made a first draft video, and also yesterday I released a team selection video, and on top of that, tomorrow at 4 p.m. British summertime, I'm going to be doing a deadline stream ahead, obviously, of match day 1. But of course, I'll probably be streaming for an hour or so, and then unfortunately I've got other commitments to do. But yeah, I will be doing UCL Fantasy, and I've done it already. Thank you for the question, mate. Lol, I got 98 points this week. Really good, mate. Really good. That's a fantastic score. I mean, in a way, obviously a bit disappointing you didn't get 100 points, but you know what? I mean, it's just a number. 98 points is exceptional. It's way better than mine, so very good, mate. My team: Sanchez, Trent, Shaw, White, Salah, Jota, Greenwood, Harrison, Bowen, CR7, and Antonio. On my bench is Ayling, Amati, and a 4.5 million mid. Got 1 transfer, and I'm unsure what to do. Yeah, I would be too. I don't think you need to make a transfer necessarily, to be honest, looking at your team. But one thing to consider going into the future is upgrading Amati. He's not going to be playing. I don't know how much money you have in the bank, but yeah, Amati looks like the big weak link there. Harrison and Bowen have been very underwhelming so far this season in terms of FPL points, but they're 2 good options who could be very explosive from time to time. Wing L says, cheers Dylan, thanks for your reading of my questions and discuss and answer it well. I have made clear a dilemma. Sounds really good, Wing L. Glad to have helped you in any way. Of course, it's all down to your decisions in the end, and I appreciate the discussion and all the good ideas you've generated, so appreciate it, mate. Wilson out for Jimenez or hold? I'd probably move him out because 1, I don't trust Newcastle anyway, and 2, he could be out for several weeks, potentially even after the next international break, so I'd probably get Jimenez or someone else in for him. I saw you notice Sky conveniently missed one of Messi's Champions Leagues and Copa America the GOAT debate, says Stephen Moore. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to hide it. I prefer Messi over Ronaldo, but I'm not hating on Ronaldo with what I said there. Sky are literally being so biased towards Ronaldo because he now plays for Manchester United again. And come on, I mean, yeah, they forgot to update it, but it's Sky, you should be having all the up-to-date stats. And it's not like Messi won Copa America yesterday. He won it back in July. And honestly, look, this is my opinion. People can hate me for it. If you're going to count the Nations League as an international trophy, then you might as well count the Olympic gold medal and the Under-20 World Cup as major honours for Argentina as well for Messi. That's just the way I see it. I don't really see the Nations League as more important as the Copa America and those two tournaments I just mentioned. But yeah, of course, Ronaldo, great player. No one can deny his quality. I just prefer Messi. I think he's more complete. Don't want to take a hit to remove DCL. Should I play Basuma versus Leicester or Livramento versus City? Yeah, go for Basuma against Leicester because Livramento could get a really bad score. Of course, you know what? I could have jinxed it there. Livramento scores, and even if they lose 5-2, he gets a good score. But I just prefer Basuma. He'll probably get 2 to 3 points. Is Wilson really out for long? I've not heard any news. It's not confirmed, Sam, but based on Steve Bruce's comments and also some reports from some injury analysts, it looks like he could be out for several weeks, but it's not confirmed. Chiesa wasn't called up to the UCL squad. Good alternative to replace him? Great question. I think he's 9 million, isn't he? I need to actually look even more at the midfielders on offer because I look at them around 8-9 million and I don't like them. And of course, yes, tomorrow I'm going to have even better answers for you, but you can always go cheaper. Other than the likes of Bruno and Salah at 10.5 million, you can always go for maybe a Hazard or a Bale. They've got a very good group, and if not, go for an Angel Correa, someone quite cheap, although he could actually not play as much now, and then invest the money elsewhere into your team. But tomorrow I should have even more options for you, maybe around the same price that you asked for. New subscriber, have loved your insight and not getting Antonio out. Thank you very much, mate, and really appreciate it, of course. And today, as I said before at the beginning of the stream, we hit 5,000 subscribers today, so really appreciate it to everyone. And also on Twitter, 500 followers. Absolutely insane, so really appreciate it from everyone. And of course, I'm lost for words. I just keep saying appreciate it, and I actually mean it. Let's see. Best Benrahma replacement below 6.2. Great question. Traore and Sarr are still great options potentially, but if not, maybe around the cheaper bracket, Gallagher once the fixtures turn for Palace, and then I'd say Damari Gray definitely, or Podence if he can start ahead of Trincao potentially. He could be really good. Rate my team: Sanchez, Trent, Shaw, Salah, Jota, Rafinha, Traore, Antonio, Bamford, Ronaldo. Bench: Sissoko, Livramento, William, Steele. Great team, Laser. Yeah, Antonio's going to be a concern for this week, but I'd keep him. You can always play, well, to be fair, yeah, it's not looking too good in terms of your bench, in terms of the cover for this week, but you could always play Sissoko or Williams, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's a good team overall. Trying to think of ways to improve it. Yeah, who's your third defender? Because you mentioned Trent and Shaw, but I don't see a third defender in there. And of course, you've got Livramento and Williams on the bench. I assume you have another defender. Oh yeah, and Semedo, you said. Yeah, that's really good, actually. You're fine for this week. I'd probably hold, especially if you only have one transfer. And then with the 2 free transfers next week, you have more flexibility and probably a better idea of what to do. Your opinion, please. I've got in midfield Sarr, Salah, Benrahma, Torres, Greenwood. Attack: Antonio, Ronaldo, Scarlett. Please suggest any changes. Thank you. Look, if possible, I'd still keep Antonio. And then cover with your defence and your midfield. In terms of what you could change, I'd probably move Benrahma on to a Rafinha or maybe a Damari Gray, someone around that price bracket. I don't know how much money you have exactly, but I'd probably mention those two players. Bamford or Jimenez, it's literally a 50-50. I prefer Bamford, but if you already have Rafinha, you can always go for Jimenez. Jimenez might offer better value, but of course, Bamford, I think he'll pick up, but I don't know. Both of them have been very underwhelming this season, and if you look at the underlying stats, I believe Jimenez has actually been doing better. What is the best formation for the season, or is it fixture dependent? Yeah, I think it's fixture dependent, and ultimately it's about the players you have, of course. But because we've got Lukaku, Ronaldo, Antonio once he's back, and Calvert-Lewin, we've got so many options up front. I think for the whole season, I would rather have 3 strikers, if possible. And if not, go for 2 strikers and 5 in midfield. So I'd say 3-5-2, 4-4-2, or 3-4-3. Those are my 3 favourite formations pretty much every season. But I'd be leaning more towards the 3 striker formations because we've got so many options. Maybe not right now because Antonio, DCL are all out pretty much. But going into the future, I'd probably say that. Should I wildcard with Sanchez, Foster, Manquillo, Livramento, Shaw, Duffy, Trent, Gilmore, Benrahma, Rafinha, Salah, Antonio, DCL, Wilson? That's actually a great question. Jammy Boy, what a name. You could actually arguably wildcard that, and you might be in a really good position afterwards. The reason why I say that is because Sanchez is fine. Then you got Manquillo. He's a decent bench option. Duffy, Shaw, and Trent is fine, but then again, do you want Duffy to be one of your main defenders? You'd want him to be your 4th or 5th choice. Gilmore, as a bench fodder. Benrahma, Rafinha, Salah, Antonio, DCL, Wilson. Yeah, I mean, Wilson could be out for a little while. Same with DCL. Antonio's out for game week 5. Salah's a great choice, of course. Rafinha should be good for medium to long term. Benrahma plays United without Antonio. I can see why you could want a wildcard. So to be honest, if you don't have 2 free transfers, I'd probably consider using the wildcard. Have DCL and Antonio only 1 transfer. What should I do? I'd sell DCL and keep Antonio. Josh McCree. I have 0.1 million in the bank. Also defense, Alonso, Trent, Shaw, Duffy and Livramento. I think that's a good bench. That could cover. So you don't have to get rid of Antonio Sidana. Best cheap striker. Great question. I'd probably still say Armstrong, Edouard now. Obviously, I didn't mention him before. But after that performance, how can you not, take notice? I'd mainly be looking at him from game weeks 8, 9 onwards. But he's looking really good. And then, Pookie's still decent. But I would prefer Armstrong. And also Edouard, actually. When you're looking at really cheap strikers, Dennis is the standout and he tends to play on the wing, but I don't know about him. He's not someone I'd want to have in my team. He's a bit awkward in terms of when you bench him, when you play him. So I'd mainly stick to Edouard and Armstrong. By the way, as a Chelsea fan, we're only going to win the Premier League. We're going to get knocked out of the EFL Cup final, FA Cup quarters and UCL semis. Where do you think Arsenal are going to come in Europe? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Noah, you're banned. I'm joking. I mean, winning the league, I think Chelsea can do it, but there is City, there is Liverpool and United. I think it could be the best title race probably since 2007-8. And the reason why I say that season is because there were 3 or 4 really good teams in that season, and 3 of them went all the way down to the wire. Arsenal should have won that season, by the way, but it is what it is. Eduardo happened. That's really good predictions. Obviously, try to remind me at the end of the season. If not, maybe I'll let me take a screenshot, actually. Try to have that ready and see what happens with Chelsea in the end. Good predictions, though. Maybe you'll win the Premier League, but I'm not too sure. It's a really tough one. It should be a really, really good title race. Now, all of a sudden, these Man United fans are saying Ronaldo's the GOAT. Look, I mean, some of them were saying it before, to be fair, but a lot of them, especially when Ronaldo was linked to City, they were losing their minds. They were saying, his legacy's done at United, and they were just saying, you know what? We only said it because we were linked to him, but Messi is the best. They were saying stuff like that. And now because Ronaldo's gone back, they're just slandering Messi. He doesn't even play in a top 5 league. It's just typical. That's how football fans are. We're all pretty fickle. But yeah, it's funny. 80 points. Marcel, the differential, really good. I mean, I almost brought him in instead of Cody, but I would have benched him. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't get him in. Salah or Bruno for UCL? From a fixtures perspective, I'd probably say Bruno, but Salah is just so good, and he's the talisman for Liverpool, and I've got him in at the moment. So I prefer Salah over Bruno, but Bruno has the better fixtures. I still haven't got the Manquillo points, says Noah. You'll get that at the end. Don't worry about that. Once DCL comes off and Manquillo gets subbed on, you'll be fine. Don't worry about that. Bamford or Jesus? For game week 5, I prefer Jesus, but long term, probably Bamford because, Jesus is going to be in and out of the team, I think. But Jesus is actually a really interesting choice. I think if he can play most games, even if he doesn't start every game, if he can play most games and come off the bench even, I think he's a fantastic choice, honestly. Ayling, Trent, Shaw, Sufas says Connor Chu. That looks good, to be honest. Maybe one thing to consider is potentially upgrading Ayling. Leeds are really poor at the moment. Let's see how they do in some of these easier fixtures, and if they don't fix up, I might be getting rid of him myself. Antonio away at Leeds, not going to be easy though. I wouldn't say it's completely easy, but I can see West Ham scoring 1 or 2. And if Leeds play like they did against Liverpool, I can see Antonio doing really well. Do I just swap Bamford and Antonio, or hold Antonio and swap Scarlett for Bamford and Sufal for Marçal for a -4? Great question, Connor Chu. I'd hold Antonio and swap Scarlett for Bamford. You don't have to get rid of Soufal for Marçal, don't you? I don't think you have to do that for a -4. So you can just, or actually you need the money, don't you? Yeah. If you have to do that, then fair enough. That could be an option. That's not too bad. Thoughts on KDB and Foden returning? I think it just makes it even more complicated for Ferran Torres potentially and all these other City attackers. Of course, the kind of usual ones should be fairly nailed and play most games, like Grealish, Gundogan, Diaz obviously at the back, Ederson. But still, when you're looking at Jesus, Sterling, Mahrez, Bernardo, and then De Bruyne, Foden, it's just absolutely insane. Good Wilson replacements. I think Jimenez is a standout, if not Bamford. Wait for press conference before transferring Bamford. Clip on Twitter saying hamstring is pinging. Yeah, exactly. And either way, just because we've got Champions League coming back tomorrow, and also we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, let's wait and see for the official kind of latest updates later on in the week. So I'd probably say that. Kane thoughts. Look, it's very hard to judge him. He's only just come back from the team, but it's not looking good. Nuno is really defensive. He's going to have to change some things and be even more attacking minded, because in all the games they've been getting just the one goal, and it's been enough because they've been able to keep clean sheets. But I don't know, with Kane, last season he was just so good the way he was playing under Mourinho. He went up another level, but this season so far he's looked really bad. I expect him to pick up. He should still get 15 to 20 goals this season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he, ends up 5 goals or more behind Salah, Ronaldo, Lukaku in the Golden Boot race, because there's also Son who can get the goals, and Spurs, I just don't see them right now as the team to get 2 or 3 goals per game. But United, Chelsea and Liverpool, they could easily do that, especially Liverpool and United. So I'm a bit kind of fearful for Kane as an FPL asset right now, but obviously we know how good Kane is. He's going to come good, in my opinion. Thank you for answering my question. No problem, mate. I try my best, of course, and I'm a few minutes behind still, so apologies for everyone. I'm trying to get through your comments as quickly as possible. Rate my team: Sanchez, White, Trent, Shaw, Soufal, Manquillo, Salah, Benrahma, Traore, Rafinha, Gilmore, DCL, Ronaldo, Antonio. Very good team. Obviously, DCL is the big concern. He could be out for a few weeks, so he could be someone to get rid of. And also Benrahma. I think Benrahma you can get rid of. I don't know how much money you'd have, but let's say, for example, you move DCL to Bamford or to Jimenez, then use that money to upgrade Benrahma, and I think you should be fine. Soufal hasn't been too good this season, in my opinion, but still not too bad. So not really someone to get rid of yet. And White hopefully can get some clean sheets, but I don't see too many in the near future. But really good team, in my opinion. I'd say 7 out of 10, but once you improve those situations, DCL and Benrahma, that could easily become an 8 or 9. Leeds are all over the place, and the expected goals conceded is 3rd highest in the league. It's a great fixture, says Harry, but fair enough, yeah. I mean, I can see why he means that, because Leeds typically are better at home. But yeah, I think Antonio can do really well. Yes, mate, love the content. Thank you, Jay. Thoughts on this move? Bruno and Antonio out for Sarr and CR7 -4. Yeah, I like those moves. I mean, I'm not too sure about Sarr in general, because Watford, I like Sarr as a player, but Watford are just really inconsistent. I don't know if I can bring myself to get one of their attackers, but it's a good move in my opinion, especially just getting Ronaldo in. But then again, you're getting rid of Antonio. I would rather keep him if possible, and Bruno's still a good asset, but of course, you want to get Ronaldo in, don't you? But good moves. Then again, though, keeping Bruno and Antonio is fine. Bamford, best replacement for DCL? Yeah, Connor, him or Jimenez, in my opinion. Force and Saint Maximan, I haven't shown him too much love really on this video, and I didn't even know he was a forward, or at least I didn't search for the forwards when searching for his name. But yeah, Saint Maximan, look, he could be a decent choice, but honestly, I don't trust Newcastle. I think there's better options elsewhere. You can always get, at 6.5 million, once the fixtures turn, get Edouard potentially. Force on Trincao, because my friends are backing him, but I have doubts on starts for him rather than Traore. Sub today, by the way. Yeah, Trincao looked really good in Game Week 4, and he is a good player. I don't know why Barcelona loaned him out, probably because they're in such a bad situation. I have the same concern as you. I think he could be displaced by Podence, and he's another one, by the way, to look out for at 5.5 million. So let's wait and see. If he continues to start, then Trincao can definitely be someone to look at. I'm a United fan. Messi is the GOAT, says Alexander Maglaras. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's all down to opinions, ultimately. I just think Messi's a better player. You could arguably say Ronaldo's a better goal scorer. I wouldn't really think so, but, they're quite similar. Then you look at dribbling, passing, even free kicks now. I mean, Messi's just unbelievable. But of course, Messi's not perfect. Ronaldo's better in the air than him, for example. ironically enough, people might, find this strange, but even on penalties, I think they have a very similar record. Ronaldo's still slightly better, I'd say, but I don't really see too much between them in terms of penalties. But yeah, both great players, of course, and hopefully we get to see them face off one more time. I also need a Benrahma replacement for around 6 million. I'm not sure who to go for. Yeah, I'd say Sarr. Sorry. I mean, he is a good option, but yeah, I'd say Damari Gray is one to look out for, and then later down the line, Gallagher. Thanks for the responses, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Barry. Thank you very much. Ronaldo is probably relevant in the GOAT debate, mostly because of the large fan base of Real Madrid and United. True, that is true. Also, Juventus to an extent, although I don't think they're too fond of him now after he left. But yeah, that's a good point, United and Madrid. But even then, a lot of Madrid fans and United fans, they think Messi's better. So obviously it's down to opinions, but yeah, that is one part of it. And also Ronaldo's really good with PR, and he is really good. So that's why he is compared. But I don't know, I just think Messi is uncomparable. That's my opinion. I think he is definitely top 3 Messi of all time. Obviously, I haven't seen everyone play in history. I got 90 on a wild card. Is that good? I don't feel like it is. Really, Dilmore? Bro, that's a really good score. Obviously, on a wild card, you might want to be expecting 100 points or more. That's a great score, 90 points. DCL out for 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, exactly. It's not looking really good for him, is it? Mbappe or Lukaku for UCL? Asked Alexander. For match day 1, I prefer Mbappe, but maybe if you look at the group stages as a whole, I'd probably prefer Lukaku because Juventus, the toughest opponent for Chelsea, is just way easier at this moment in time than City is in PSG's group. Any tips, as this is my first season? Thank you. Okay, appreciate you coming here and asking for tips, mate. What I would say is try to be patient with your transfers. So if you bring someone in, give them time to prove themselves. And of course, I might go against my own advice by getting rid of Benrahma at some point very soon. But that's what I would recommend. I try to avoid too many transfers with your defence. One big mistake I made last season was chopping and changing my defence unnecessarily. Bringing in Diaz 1 week, then he scores an own goal against West Brom, and then bringing him out, getting Chilwell back in, then he gets injured, and then bringing someone else in, and then it all goes tits up. So I try to have a solid base. I'd be patient, wait for more information, more data, use the eye test, use underlying stats, and then compile all of that together to then make informed decisions that you think are going to pay off in the medium to long term. Obviously, try to have a plan, but at the same time, be open-minded. Don't just be rigid in your thinking. If you think you're going to wildcard in 7 or 8, use that as a possibility, but don't, commit yourself or, let's say, dead end yourself into a corner and then just do things just because you thought it a few weeks ago. Things can change. So, of course, have a plan, but do not just stick to one. Try to be open-minded. So those are some of the kind of tips I'd say, off the top of my head that I think are very essential in terms of becoming a better manager. And yeah, in terms of worrying about ownership, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but sometimes you can always play it safe. You don't have to, be different for the sake of it. However, if you really back a certain player for the captaincy, or even just in general, bringing a player like Podence, if he's starting, back your gut sometimes, and you can pull away from the rest of the crowd. But of course, it's also good to be safe at times, and no matter how badly people talk about the template and all of that, including myself. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some good advice, but of course, maybe others can give even better. Thanks for the Kane thought. Ray, I switched Kane for Lukaku. I already have Ronaldo and Antonio. I mean, they are facing each other, and I backed Chelsea to win that game. That's just a personal opinion. I probably would make that switch, and you're already kind of early with Lukaku. Of course, I think Chelsea play City in game week 6, so that could be a very interesting one. I'm not too keen on Lukaku then, but definitely get Lukaku in by game week 7. So you don't have to get him in now, but by game week 7, yeah, definitely do that. Noah says, congrats on 5k on YouTube and 500 on Twitter. The only FPL YouTuber I watch live streams, and can you quickly give your best free hit team this week? I know I already told you, and you said your piece, it would help. Thank you very much, Noah. And of course, yeah, it was kind of overwhelming, to get so many subscribers today, and even over the last month or so, it's been great. And obviously, thanks to everyone for that. Obviously, without your support, we don't get to those milestones. But in terms of the best free hit team, I'm going to be showing that in my preview video, which I do every single week. I show the best team you can make for a specific game week. Let's show this now. So let's look at the fixtures, and let's try to make one quickly. But of course, once again, this will feature, and it could be changed a bit by the time I do my preview video, and I'll probably have more time to think. So one thing I'd definitely do is play Salah and Jota and have Trent. I'd have a triple up for Liverpool against Palace. I'd probably do that, despite how good Palace have been recently. Leeds against Newcastle, that's an interesting one. Okay, so let's go for, I'd say either Saiss or Marçal in the defence. I'd probably go for one of them. It's up to you who you go for. I probably wouldn't double up on Wolves because Brentford are still capable of scoring. Man United, yeah, I'd still go for Ronaldo. Ronaldo up top. And let's see. Yeah, Man City against Southampton. Look, okay, this might sound very woke, apologies. I don't intend to be woke, but here we go. Gabriel Jesus. I just think having an attacker like him or Ferran Torres could be very beneficial in a week like this. And then, yeah, let's look at the rest. So, Alonso. Okay, you know what? Alonso has a great record against Spurs. If he plays in that game, I wouldn't be surprised if he scores. So I'd actually stick Alonso in there potentially. And if not, you can always move him on to, let's say, Cancelo from Manchester City. And they play Southampton, of course. But that's something to consider. I'm not too sure about Luke Shaw against West Ham. I think he can get a clean sheet. Maybe an attack in return. But potentially, you could go for someone else. So let me just, for now, put some of the best players. And then we'll worry about the budget later on. Ben White against Arsenal could be a decent 4.4 million option potentially. In goal, let's just go for Backman, something different I guess, but I'm not too sure about Watford if I'm being completely honest. So something like this, really heavy at the back actually. And what, am I going to play all of them? What am I doing? Anyway, we need some budget options as well. Maybe this is a week where I'd probably go for 4.5 million striker. Maybe you could go for Bamford though, don't rule him out. He is a decent option. I do have a bit of PTSD though from the Newcastle game last season for Leeds. I think Bamford got substituted off before the 60th minute. Meanwhile, Rafinha got double-digit points and I didn't have him. Anyway, don't worry about it too much. Try to forget. Unlike me. Here you go. So we've got 13.4. That's not too bad actually. We get Rafinha. Yeah, this is not too bad actually. 6.9. Gray against Villa could be decent. Sarr against Norwich, yeah, you know what? Let's go for Sarr, Despite the fact I don't trust Watford, we're going to get two other players in. What can possibly go wrong, I wonder? Rafinha, maybe instead of Rafinha, you could arguably go for Ferran Torres if you back him to start, to be honest. So we've got 0.9 million remaining with this team. So the team would basically be Backman in goal, White, Alonso. Well, I wouldn't be starting White. It'd be Cancelo, Trent, and either Marçal or Alonso, depending on what you prefer. And then in the midfield, Sarr, Rafinha, Jota, Salah. Up front, Ronaldo and Jesus. So a 4-4-2 formation and 0.9 million remaining. So you can improve some of these players. Instead of Marçal, you can get Roman Saiss. Instead of Backman, yeah, you can just get maybe Jose Sarr, for example. So there's different ways you can go about this. Let me know what you think. But this is roughly, kind of the best team you can make. I might make some alterations by the time I make the preview. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful for you. And yeah, appreciate everyone who is still here. It's nearly midnight and we've got over 100 people watching. So really appreciate it, guys. And lasses, of course. Let's see. Let me try and get through the questions that I missed out. To choose one, Bamford or Jimenez? I'd just about say Bamford, but I don't know. Jimenez has the better underlying stats and fixtures. So maybe I'm being foolish there. They're both great options. 10k subs before game week 8, you deserve it. Thank you, Laser, but maybe that's a bit too much. I'd literally just barely got to 5,000 now, and I've been making videos since, I'd say, the beginning of 2020, so it's been a grind. I'd say hopefully 10k subs by maybe the end of the year, that would be really good, but if not, yeah, maybe being a bit more realistic, probably the end of the Premier League season, but of course, anything's possible. But yeah, it's good to be ambitious. Thank you for that, Laser. Really appreciate it. Fixtures for Leeds are better for long term, but still confused to go for Bamford or Jimenez. Yeah, but the same thing goes for Wolves. They've got really good fixtures in the long term. They don't face a top 6 team until game week 15, really. So yeah, or at least top 5 team. Jimenez, 4 games, 0 goals and 0 assists. It's not good, old Jimenez. Yeah, I just think his underlying stats have been very good, and also Wolves are looking very dangerous going forward. But yeah, I don't know. I think Jimenez will come good. I don't know if he's better than Bamford. It's just really tough. Antonio will drop again this week, I think. Yeah, but I'm prepared to take that, to be honest. He's someone I'd want to keep going forward. Too risky to go for him. Bamford looks better. I think they're both good, to be honest. But yeah, maybe Bamford is better. Not too sure about that, though. I think that both Messi and Ronaldo have different qualities, both the best for me. Fair enough, Maxim. That's a fair point. I just prefer watching Messi. That's also another reason why. And also, then again, you could say I'm biased. He plays for my national team, so that's why I kind of always go for Messi. Nah, Messi better. He stay in Barcelona the whole time with the Spain world champion team support. Ronaldo challenged all the leagues. Did you see the difference? I don't necessarily agree with that, to be honest, because it's not like Ronaldo's joining, I'd say, Napoli like Maradona did back in the 80s. He's joining Juventus, who've won the league 7-8 times in a row. Man United, they were the best team in the league at the time, if not second best, behind Arsenal. And either way, they had Ferguson, who always rebuilt teams, and they had the best players. So I don't necessarily agree with that. And of course, Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world. And yeah, fair enough. When he joined, I'd say Barcelona were the best, but Madrid was still second best. And only 2 league titles in 9 years. That is a bit of a tarnish, in my opinion, for his legacy league-wise. But of course, down to different opinions. Messi, what I would say is he's in a really poor league right now. PSG are going to win it easily. They're already 5 points clear, for God's sake. So I will say that. And if Ronaldo wins the league with Man United, of course, that will definitely be a boost overall. But then again, look at Messi. Consistently achieving greatness with Argentina. Very close to winning the World Cup. Should have won it. Reached 3 Copa America finals, then finally won it this year. Won the gold medal. Won the Under-20 World Cup. Has won, I think, 4 or 5 major international tournament awards. I mean, that's absolutely insane, to be honest. So that's why I think Messi's better. But Ronaldo is, of course, a great player. Let's see. Wait for Jimenez to pick up. Then we will see. Everyone recognize him once again. I completely agree. That's why I'm not too sure about going for him now. But with DCL out, with Antonio being out for the week, I can see why some people want him. Saint-Maximin is a good punt. Leeds, Watford and Wolves are good fixtures where you can get some points for sure. Fair enough. Yeah, you know what? I'm probably not giving him enough credit. He is someone to consider, no doubt about it. And in terms of cheap strikers around Tony's price, it could be a simple switch from Tony to him, and also Edouard when the fixtures turn, and also Armstrong. What are your goalkeepers in UCL Fantasy at the moment and why? It's the exact same as my team selection video from yesterday, Lewis. So I've got Musso and Kobel, I think it is, Gregor Kobel from Dortmund. And the reason why is because it allows me to rotate my goalkeeper. So if one blanks, I can bring on the other in the following day. And they also play for decent teams. And especially in Dortmund's case, they've got a very good group. But otherwise, I'll be going for Mendy in goal and a 4 million backup. I have 300 points so far. Is it good? I'd say so, to be honest. I mean, I'm around 100k in the world and I've got 316. So it's really tight at the moment. One captaincy swing can obviously change things and you can easily enter in the top 100k. I wouldn't be kind of too bothered about ranks and stuff and points at this stage, but that's a good points total. Force and Richarlison as his next 2 game weeks are great. I think, yeah, he's a good choice, especially, I like for replacement for DCL. I don't like the Geezer, but, he is a good asset potentially with DCL out. But when Calvert-Lewin is back, Richarlison's a no-go for me. Force on Townsend. Obviously, he scored a great goal, which I haven't seen yet. But yeah, I probably won't be, thinking about him just yet. I prefer Gray, Gallagher. Also, if you look up front, Edouard. So I'm not really looking at Townsend. Best defender from Leicester to get? Good question. Castagna could be one. He's always got nice attacking potential. But other than that, really, I'm not too kind of confident. Obviously, if James Justin was fit and available and playing like it was last season, he would be my pick. He was so good in FPL, but I'm not sure. Congrats on the 5,000, Dylan. You deserve it, and always so consistent and helpful. Big up yourself. Thank you, Mickey, mate. Always here, and appreciate your kind words. Wow, geez, I've been kind of... Look, this is the kind of problem. I've been giving detailed explanations and answers, but at the same time, I'm kind of falling behind, so apologies for that. Let me try to actually go from them quickly. Was 245 points good before I fucked it in the defense? Like you said, my decision to early wildcard at the break. Appreciate the advice. I don't even think you said wildcard. Appreciate it, mate. Of course. I mean, I'm just giving my opinion. It's not always right. So don't hold me to it, whether I'm right or wrong, but obviously appreciate your comment. My team is goalkeeper, Sanchez, Trent, Semedo, Shaw, Jota, Salah, Gray, Traore, DCL, Antonio, Ronaldo, Steele, Duffy, Sissoko, Williams, but Duffy hasn't come on for DCL. Is there a reason? He will come on. DCL will come off and Duffy will come on. That's fine. Don't worry about that. And obviously going forward, maybe get rid of DCL, bench Antonio next week, and you should be good. No problem, Noah. Who's a better choice out of Greenwood or Jota for the next few weeks? I'd probably say Jota whilst Yeah, whilst Firmino is out, but of course, Greenwood has been really good this season. Thoughts on Rafinha, as I feel like he's a good run of fixtures. I mean, I'm thinking of potentially moving Benrahma on for Rafinha, so I think he's a good choice. I'm not too confident about Leeds at the moment, but I think they will pick up. Why Jesus? Game week 6 and 7 for City are terrible. Just to make it clear, this is only for game week 5, so someone asked for the best free hit team, so what is the best team you can make exclusively for game week 5? And this is what I've come up with. I wouldn't go for Jesus as a long-term option because he's going to be in and out of the team. But for game week 5 specifically, if Jesus starts, he's a fantastic choice. That's why he's in there. Wolves, Hwang, new player from RB Leipzig. Yeah, you know what? Someone mentioned him the other day, but I thought he was trolling. I thought he was trying to, bait me with one of those names. But yeah, it's actually a really good suggestion. And he scored. He's obviously looking really lively. So that's actually a good suggestion there. And of course, I remember him actually from Leipzig. And the years gone by in the Champions League. Thankfully, it's only 3:40 p.m. here in California. Obviously, that's good. Here, it's nearly 12 a.m. Oh my God, I haven't even realised that. But that's actually a good time for you, hopefully. Obviously, if you're at work, a bit different, but appreciate you joining in, mate. California, I've actually know some people there. Game Week 8 wildcard, better than Game Week 7 wildcard. You want to use it after the international break with possible COVID isolations. That's a fantastic point there, Burko. That could actually be the right thing to do. That's why I always say Game Week 7 or 8, rather than just saying Game Week 7, but that's a good point. To be honest, I'm probably going to go 4-3-3, and to be honest, I have a gut feeling about Saint-Maximin and Bamford from watching the Newcastle and Leeds game, seeing the positioning for both of them, and both defences look bleep. Yeah, that's a good point, Always back your gut, just because I'm not too keen on Saint-Maximin doesn't mean you shouldn't, and, go for him, if you back him, and he has done well so far. Alonso has a good record against Spurs. Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why he's in there, despite how tough Spurs is on paper. I've got Alonso in there in the best free hit team. Anyone know if it's worth a -8 to bring Jota and Ronaldo in for Fernandes and Ings? I mean, Ings has just got really poor fixtures, so it could be, but taking Fernandes out for a -8, it doesn't sit right with me, honestly. Jota triple captaincy as a pun. I probably wouldn't do that because I can see Salah and Mane scoring a lot of goals too. That's just my opinion though. If you have a gut feeling, go for it. Cody or Marçal, assuming that Marçal continues to start, which he should, by the way, I'd go for him, but I just went for Cody because he's a bit more nailed. But then again, Marçal is showing way more attacking threat, as I've always said, really. Jesus Christ, this is horrendous to listen to. Ronaldo and Messi are both unbelievable. Stop comparing them. Enjoy them both. Fair enough. I was just, kind of asked about Ronaldo Messi. That's why I said it. And it's just my opinion. It's not really, that deep. Messi will forever be my GOAT. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own ones. A lot of people think Maradona, Pele, Cruyff, Ronaldo, R9. There's so many. So obviously, pick your kind of favourite one and stick to it. In tennis, I've got my own one. In Formula 1. But yeah, in football, for me, it's Messi and Maradona. But yeah, watching Messi play is something else, man. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just the stats. It's just also the play style. It's absolutely unbelievable. Trying to justify myself to go for Bamford due to slightly better form instead of Jimenez as setting to wildcard in game week 8. If not, I would wildcard soon, as I'd probably go for Jimenez. Good underlying stats. Yeah, that's the thing with Jimenez. Good underlying stats, great fixtures. We just need to see a bit more from him. Yeah. I think Bamford, slightly better form because Jimenez hasn't really done anything yet in terms of goal output, but both good options. At the beginning of the season, I thought Chris Wood would be a good differential this year, but he hasn't turned up yet. True, but he's a very streaky player. Once he gets going, I think he can go on a run of 4 or 5 games like he did last season of scoring. Pukki going to get a hat-trick in game week 5. Wow, if he does, you deserve a medal there, Hatter. Messi misses a penalty in Copa final versus Chile. That cost him the trophy. Ronaldo mentality and influence better than Messi. Yeah, but then again, Messi has a better record in finals, and Ronaldo missed the penalty in the Champions League final. It's just his teammates scored them, and he won it against Chelsea. So it goes both ways, in my opinion. And Messi also did beat him in a Champions League final. But you know what? I don't want to get Ronaldo fanboys triggered, so let's just move on. Pereira seems to be back for Leicester soon too. Yeah, that's a good point. But I still expect Castagna to continue to start. It's just when James comes in. Pereira is a good option for Leicester, that's true. Lukaku or Antonio, Gallagher or Sarr? Right now I prefer Sarr, but going forward Gallagher is looking better. And Lukaku or Antonio, looking at it long term and also including this week, I'd probably say Lukaku, but Antonio's really good. Banter aside, Arsenal had the third best defensive record last season in terms of goals conceded, only behind City and Chelsea, and great fixtures until game week 20. Not a bad idea to have one in a wildcard draft. Yeah, I'm quite happy to keep White for that reason, but in the immediate kind of short term, not too sure if I see too many clean sheets. But yeah, you have a good point. Long term, Arsenal have good fixtures, and if they can keep things tight at the back, they look very good defensively with Gabriel and Ben White. It could be fine, and also Tomiyasu, but of course, it was Norwich, after all. Yeah, Pereira got 2 assists in 2.5 games, very decent. Yeah, Pereira's a good choice. When are you thinking of wildcarding, or have you already? I'm thinking of wildcarding in game week 7 or 8, but if not, I'll just save it for later. Sitting pretty at 343. I thought you were talking about a formation or something. Top 4K. No cards used yet. First time playing FPL, so thanks for the tips. Or do you actually mean 343? Anyway, that's a really good rank. Top 4K. And appreciate that very much, Max, of course. Appreciate you joining in the live chats and also the videos. And obviously just my opinions and tips. They sometimes go right, sometimes they don't. I took a 4-point hit yesterday to bring Lukaku, as no other good strikers are available right now, and I think he is capable of scoring against Tottenham and Man City. Yeah, look, he can score against those teams. City, I expect the ceiling to be lower, but then again, Chelsea do have the number recently, so that's a good choice. Best Benrahma replacement, says Just a Fan. I'd probably be looking at the likes of Rafinha, Damari Gray, Gallagher in the future, so those are the ones. There's also Sarr and Traore, of course. Should I keep Benrahma next game week where they potentially play 4-4-2 or get Rafinha? If you're not taking a hit, I'd potentially get Rafinha. But obviously playing a 4-4-2 is fine. I'm benching Benrahma. Sarr, Traore and Rafinha probably. Yeah, exactly, Frederick. 4 a.m. in India. Yeah, apologies for the late time. Obviously, UCL Fantasy, if you play that, will be much earlier tomorrow. It will be 4 p.m. UK time. So that should be... what? Yeah, it should be around 9 p.m. in India, something like that. So hopefully that's fine. Apologies, obviously, for it being so late. Most people voted for the stream to take place now. So yeah, my bad for that. Thoughts on Scarlett in your team, as I have no idea who it is. Yeah, the only reason he's on screen is just a bench fodder at 4.5 million. And this, what you see on screen, by the way, is the best team for Game Week 5 specifically. So if you are using a free hit, you could do this and maybe make a few alterations. There's 0.9 million in the bank. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be wildcarding to this, by the way. Definitely not. This is my current team at the moment. Lol, you said you don't like the geezer when talking about Richarlison. Is that because he's Brazilian? That rivalry talk is coming out. Yeah, but also, as I alluded to earlier, Mickey, it's just how arrogant he is and how cocky he is. He always kind of like puts Instagram posts and stories. Like if they beat Chile, for example, he'll just say "Se busca rival en Sudamérica," which means we're trying to look for a rival in South America. I mean, did you forget, like 2 months ago, you lost in your own backyard to Argentina? Maybe not. And then he does the same thing with the not Copa America table, the World Cup qualifying table where Brazil are top. And then he says the same thing. Like he just completely, repeats himself. He's just literally Argentina live rent-free in this guy's head. Even I think when they won the gold medal, by the way, he missed the penalty in that game, but, he got bailed out by Malcolm. After, picking up the medal and stuff, he said to Gianni Infantino, who is the FIFA president, he said, yeah, next year I'll see you, bold one. He said pelado. And yeah, so he's basically saying they're going to win the World Cup next year. I mean, he's just like absolute... Anyway, let's not talk about that guy. And we have anyway, but of course, just to remind you why I don't like the guy. Let's see. Oh my god, a lot of Messi hate here. No problem, just a fan. -4 for Bamford plus Marçal for Soufal plus Scarlett. I have kept Antonio in the situation, or just straight swap Bamford for Antonio and save -4. Yeah. I'd probably take the -4 for Bamford and Marçal. Yeah, I'd do that instead. Messi's not even the best Argentinian, but then again, if Ronaldo was Argentinian, would he be the best? If Messi isn't, then Ronaldo wouldn't be. That's just my opinion, mate. Yeah, Maradona's really good. Di Stefano, he's got more competition there than Portugal. I think I'll use triple captain in Liverpool's game against Brentford game week 7. That's a good shout, but Brentford have been decent then again. But could be a shout. Benrahma to Jota, Tony to Bamford. Looks really good, Teja. This is my first FPL season. When's the best time to bench boost and triple captain? Is there a specific time? By the way, I can't compare Ronaldo and Messi, both completely different players, so they're both GOATs. Fair enough, that's a nice opinion, obviously, and it avoids the arguments. In terms of the best time to bench boost, that would be in a double game week. Those will come in the second half of the season, and that happens when there's a blank game week, which is when a team does not play in a particular weekend because that fixture clashes with another competition like the FA Cup, EFL Cup, or also the Champions League or Europa League. And triple captain, same thing. Try to look for a double game week. Last season we had a triple one when United had 3 fixtures in game week 35. And then, yeah, if not, just any fixture that looks really good, like Salah at home to Norwich. That could be a great chance to triple captain. First time on your channel, subscribe, mate. Best of luck on hitting 10k. Cheers, matey. Thank you, Hiresh Vlogs. Really appreciate it. And yeah, the road to 10k begins. Obviously, thank you, everyone, for subscribing and helping us reach 5,000. Who are the best triple captaincy options? Obviously, this is very dependent. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, who's going to have double game weeks, and, how, what fixtures are going to be in those double game weeks. But I'd be aiming for Ronaldo, Salah, and Lukaku at this moment in time. Those 3 would be in my mind in terms of the captaincy, the triple captaincy. Kane was one of them last season, but I'm not so sure now with Nuno. That could change, of course. But yeah, Ronaldo, Salah, and Lukaku when they have a really good double game week. And Lukaku should have one for sure, because Chelsea have the Club World Cup in December or January, and that means they have a double game week guaranteed in the future. Forcing Aubameyang, as the fixtures are good, and he has just scored, which I predicted, by the way. Yeah, I also expected him to score, but maybe more, and he should have scored at least another goal. But yeah, I mean, I don't know with Aubameyang. I think you can just get better value elsewhere, and Ronaldo, Lukaku, even Antonio when he's back, and DCL, I just think they're better options. Yeah, 343 points, not the formation. Oh yeah, okay, I completely effed that up. I didn't even expect that. Yeah, 343 points is insane. That's a really good score, and hopefully you manage to maintain that. Good luck, Max. And good luck to Max Verstappen as well. What do you think? When is the right time to triple captain someone, or there isn't a specific time? There's not a set formula, because some people did it game week 1 last season for Salah against Leeds. He got 20 points, 60 overall, and there you go. You got a really good triple captaincy. But if it's not like Salah against Palace at home or Salah against Norwich at home, you can always just wait for a double game week. So those are the kind of ideal times. A really good player, FPL player, who's got a really good fixture, or when one of those players has a double or triple game week. Cancelo or James? Good question. At this moment in time, I'd prefer Cancelo, but I like both of them a lot. Rank 178. Jesus, that's really good. Cancelo, yeah. What would your defense be if you wildcarded? Great question, Josh. Another Josh in the building. If I wildcarded, I'd definitely have Trent in my defense. I'd have a Chelsea defender. Probably Rudiger or Alonso. I would have Marcel or Saiz, probably Marcel. Obviously, I should have got him, but I didn't get him in the end. I got Cody. I'd maybe get a cheap 4.1 million defender, so either Duffy, Livramento, or Williams. Doesn't really matter. They wouldn't be playing for me much. And the final defender, potentially, that's a tough one. I might even go for a City defender if I'm able to. So a Diaz or a Cancelo, I would actually go for. But if not, maybe just downgrade him onto someone cheaper. But yeah, pretty much similar to the kind of wildcard videos I've showed in the past. Very similar. Not much has changed from then. Bench Rudiger this week. It depends who you bench him for. I think they could keep a clean sheet. 5 a.m. in Egypt. Well, thank you very much, Heka, for staying up. But honestly, get some sleep. Or maybe you woke up just now in preparation for the day. But that's just insane, man. Triple captain is probably for Lukaku versus Norwich at home, or Ronaldo versus Norwich at home. Yeah, or Salah at home against Norwich, if not a double game week. Colin says, man, you are the best. Definitely not, but thank you very much, mate. You try a lot. Where does this energy come from? Well, advice, bring in Reece James or Marcus with the Champions League and Tuchel roulette. Yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you for sure in terms of the best player to get from Chelsea out of those two, because they're both susceptible to rotation once Chilwell and the other kind of right-wing back options like Hudson-Odoi are pretty much fully into the mix. I don't know. I think in FPL, at this moment in time, I'd have to say Alonso. But in UCL Fantasy, I think Chilwell would probably play more, and that's where you probably would want Reece James. But yeah, both good players, of course. And thank you very much for your comment, Collins. Really appreciate it. 2 a.m. in Ethiopia. Damn, I know a lot of people from Ethiopia. Big up Ethiopia, and thank you. And obviously, same with Egypt and America and all these countries that people are from. 12 p.m. in Nigeria. Really good time, actually. Not too bad, in my opinion. And big up Nigeria. I've got some really good friends from there. And of course, Argentina always play Nigeria in the World Cups. It's like a classic. Jesus for Antonio, he is probably nailed. Yeah, I mean, he's a good choice. I'm not too sure about him long term, but if you look at my best free hit team for Game Week 5, at this moment in time, I'll be making a new one in my preview. Jesus does feature. Hi Dylan, how are you doing? Just wondering, why are people considering wildcard free hit for this week specifically? And what advantages does that give managers for future weeks, etc., of the players chosen? The reason why is because a lot of people have Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Antonio, and they're both missing out in game week 5. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is an injury concern for the weeks to come as well. Also, some really tough fixtures for West Ham players, such as Benrahma and all of this. And just in general, some people want to be on Chelsea defenders, also change their team structure to get Lukaku and Ronaldo. I don't think you have to wildcard now. Of course, it could be really beneficial, but you can always do it in game week 7 or 8. If not, maybe in game weeks 13, 14, 15. So there's no set time to do it, but of course, it can always pay off. It can always backfire. But, if you do a wildcard, try to stick to it and don't just change things immediately afterwards. Did I miss anything? And yeah, free hit, same thing. Some people don't want to use the wild card, so they just want to have 1 week where they use the free hit. They don't have to worry about it. And some people have a lot of suspensions, injuries, and stuff like that. So I can understand why they want to do it. Love from Nigeria, another one. Collins, big up Nigeria, man. Antonio missed. Yeah, he did, Omar. He did. Worth it for a -4 to remove DCL? It depends who you remove him for, but because he's out for a long time, you could just take a -4. If not, just cover him with another defender or midfielder. So, for example, in my case, Antonio's missing out. I've got Ayling and Cody to cover for him. Why isn't Sterling playing? Because on FPL it says he's fine. Because they have so many options, and also Sterling is very inconsistent in my opinion, especially for Man City. He had a really good Euros, but he's been very poor for City in recent years. 1 a.m. in my country, but I'm awake till 7 a.m, so no issues. Wow. Damn, I mean, you're awake till 7 a.m? Damn, I'm 1 a.m. as well. Big up Laser. And where are you from, by the way? You said in my country. Saving him for Champions League, there's going to be a lot of rotation from now on. I agree, Mickey. This is why I'm not really too sure about those. Antonio transfer instead of Bamford. Yeah, I'd keep Antonio if possible. That's just my opinion on it. If you can't and you have to get rid of him, then fair enough. Get Bamford or Jimenez. Take out Antonio for Bamford. I only have Ronaldo and Scarlett in attack. Don't have much money to take out Benrahma for Rafinha. Yeah, but if you have defenders or midfielders to cover, like a White or Cody or Marçal or an Ayling, that's fine. But yeah, if not, you might as well get rid of him for Bamford or Jimenez. Got 92 points using my wildcard. Ronaldo, Lukaku doing the job. Should I just see Antonio out for Bamford, or is there a better choice? I try to keep Antonio, but if not, Bamford or Jimenez, I'd say. Who'll be better for City, Foden or Grealish? I think in FPL, Grealish, but Foden in UCL, one to look out for. The highest outfield point scorer last season in the Champions League. When get Jota and Lukaku in? I mean, you can always have both of them, in my opinion, but in terms of Jota, when Firmino comes back, that's when you can jump off him. And if you're wildcarding in game week 7 or 8, that could be a good time to jump off him and get Lukaku in. I have Dyer, Antonio, and DCL on my team. Should I wildcard? If those are the 3 only doubts, I try to just use a transfer or a hit to pretty much navigate that. DCL going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Got him and Antonio in my team. Thinking of wildcarding now this week to get Lukaku in next to Ronaldo. Thoughts? I can see why you think that, but you can always go for Jimenez or Bamford in for DCL. And in a few game weeks' time, when Lukaku has great fixtures from game week 7 onwards, that's when you can get him in. Do you play FIFA? If so, did you see that Messi got 93 and Ronaldo 91? And for a double game week and you triple captain, would the triple captaincy carry on through all the games, same as the bench? So yeah, I saw the FIFA ratings. Even then, some of the ratings are ridiculous. Like Messi has 65 physicality. Don't get me started on that. And for a double game week and you triple captain, would the triple captaincy carry on? Yeah, exactly. The reason why I say triple captain in a double game week is because the points count for both games within that game week. That's why it's a double game week. They pretty much have 2 games within the week, pretty much. Obviously I sound a bit redundant there. And yeah, in terms of bench boosting, the same thing. If you do it in a double game week, the points will count for every player, including on your bench, for both games. Sadio Mane, good captain? Yes, mate. For game week 5, I think Mane is potentially the best captaincy option this week. But going forward, I don't want Mane. It's just for this week against Palace. It isn't 5 a.m. in Egypt. 1 a.m. hacker is lying. Lol. Oh, wow. I mean, still, I appreciate the attempt to lie, and the effort shown. But yeah, 1 a.m. Yeah, that's still impressive, man. 1 a.m. is quite late. Have you wildcarded this year yet? I haven't, and I probably won't for a few more weeks at least. I was joking about Nigeria, by the way. I have no clue. But you have no clue where you're from, or? But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, there's quite a few people from Nigeria actually in this chat. That's why I actually believed it. Sorry, arrived late to the stream. Antonio of Bamford with the run of games for Leeds. I would rather keep Antonio if possible, but if you have to get rid of him, I'd get Bamford or Jimenez. Thank you for joining in, Geeks Compendium. Which two should I play from Christensen, Reguilon, Allen? I'd play Christensen and probably Reguilon. I mean, because I don't expect much from Allen. I'd definitely play Christensen. I don't know if he's going to start, though. When do you think I should move Greenwood on, and should I bring in instead for another similar price? Torres, Jota, if not downgrade to a Rafinha, I think that could be really good. Or you're looking at Odemari Gray or Gallagher in the weeks to come. Christensen and Antonio killed me. Yeah, that must be really disappointing with Christensen especially, and Antonio. I don't know what you did there. Welcome, Kaniwa. Thank you for joining in. Jimenez or Bamford? Once again, I slightly prefer Bamford, but I like Jimenez too. Literally, the only reason I've said Jimenez to some people is because they specifically had Rafinha already, and I'm not too sure about doubling up on Leeds attack yet. Thoughts on Saint-Maximin? Only 6.5 and looks really lively for Newcastle with some inviting fixtures. Yeah, the fixtures to come are really good. Saint-Maximin could be the spark, especially in the absence of Wilson. He could be the talisman and could link up well with Willock, but yeah, it's just Newcastle. I don't trust them, but yeah, he is a good option. He's done well so far, and I think he can do really well over the next 3 game weeks, but he's not someone I would want long term. Watching from Brooklyn, I actually randomly came across this, says Canny Watt. Do you even play FPL? I'm just wondering, but yeah, big up Brooklyn. I can't even say that. I was going to say I've been there before, but in Spider-Man games, but yeah, you know what, Brooklyn, big up. In what scenario should we not get rid of Antonio? Should we not get rid of him? If you have, for example, good defenders or midfielders, with good fixtures to cover. Like, for example, in my team, I've got Ayling, White and Cody who can come in and I can play 5-3-2 and I'm pretty happy with it. So in that sort of situation, if you've got cover on your bench, I'd keep Antonio. My captains keep letting me down, man. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a bit 50-50 and just down to luck. So I wouldn't really kick yourself too much about it. It can definitely start coming. At one point last season, I literally just kept getting the captaincy wrong. And then all of a sudden, it just took one double-digit haul. And I started, getting a bit more luck from then on. I really want Jota in, but do you think it's worth it? For the next few game weeks, I think so. But when Firmino's back, it's not really a big issue. Don't you think it would be better to save the free hit for a future game week, a double game week where there's a lot of players playing good fixtures, or on the rare occasion of a cancelled game due to COVID outbreak? I think it is better if possible, but of course some people, it's a team dependent question. Some people are in a really bad situation with a lot of injuries and stuff like that, and they need to free hit potentially. But yeah, I think if possible, save it. Morning Dylan, up to 65k from 200k, had a wee grey points. Lol, keep Antonio and play Cody, roll transfer or sell for Bamford. I'd keep Antonio and play Cody and roll the transfer personally, but selling for Bamford's also a good shout, but I'd go for the first one, Denver. Thank you for joining in. Is Greenwood still good? I think so, but he's not going to be starting and playing 90 minutes every game from now on. I have doubts about Gray, so I don't know. Yeah, I get what you mean there. I would rather have Calvert-Lewin, but because he's out, I think Gray could actually be the standout along with Richarlison. Yeah, I hate that guy, but yeah, Demarai Gray, and you can always switch him on to maybe a Gallagher around game weeks 8 or 9, and also always you can change him up at some point, especially if you wildcard. Any recommendations for sore throat and a cold? Not COVID, by the way. Any remedies, etc. that work for you? It's not related, but thought I'd ask. Wow, I mean, we're getting all sorts of questions on this channel, so honestly, recently I haven't been getting too many colds and stuff. I've been lucky, but when I was a kid, I got so many. I'm telling you, I got so many colds. At one point, I thought I was cursed. I think, look, tea is really good in general. Like, just common tea, even if it's, just common tea, basically. Not even green tea, but that's also really good. Green tea, very good. Also, I think putting ginger in tea. I mean, I keep saying tea, but tea is important. Putting ginger in tea, eating a lot of citric fruits, so oranges and tangerines. That helps me so much. It even makes me feel better. And then what else? I mean, your recommendations, any remedies? Yeah, paracetamol and yeah. I mean, there's always, I don't know exactly what it's called. I think I know it in Spanish, but not in English. But yeah, stuff for your throat, obviously. Is always good. Jarabe? I think it's called jarabe in Spanish. I don't know what he's saying in English. I'm an idiot. I'm a fraud. But yeah, stuff for your throat, of course. Always search for stuff for throat pain. And yeah, that will help, of course. So Obviously, some people have even better suggestions, but I think those are pretty decent in my opinion. What to do with DCL? I have Bamford. I'd probably move DCL on for Bamford or Jimenez. Yeah. Top 3 captaincy options. I'll be talking about this in my preview once again, just like the best free hit team you can make. This might sound surprising to some of you. If we look at the fixtures, I think Sadio Mane could be really good against Palace. He just has a great record against them. You know, you sometimes just have that opponent that you love to play against. If you're in bad form, you just know you can get it up again. So Mane is one I'd recommend. Obviously, Salah's a no-brainer most weeks, but I'll go for Mane. Gabriel Jesus could be a really good differential against Southampton. That's someone to consider. And then, yeah, you know what? Maybe Salah. You should just go with Salah, Mane, and Gabriel Jesus, for example. But, of course, there's Ronaldo. He's always a good captaincy option. And I think West Ham could be a bit... I think they'll be undone by United in that game, potentially. Lukaku could be good against Spurs, but I probably wouldn't go for the captaincy because I don't know if his ceiling will be that high. But, yeah, those sorts of players. I think Salah, Mane, and Gabriel Jesus, they're the 3 that stand to my mind. Aubameyang has a good record against Burnley, but I probably wouldn't captain him. Thinking of others, I'll probably stick to those, to be honest. Let's see, I'll go through the last few questions and then I'll be wrapping up. There's over 100 people and we're past midnight. I really appreciate it, guys and girls. It's absolutely insane, for so many people to be here. And of course, once again, thank you so much for helping me reach 5,000 subscribers. And thank you to the newest member to the channel, Rodrigo Arias. Really appreciate it, mate. My overall is 231, and I just did a transfer Antonio to Bamford. Fair enough, and that could obviously work out well. I prefer to keep Antonio, but that doesn't mean it's the right thing you have to do. Watching from Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, I know someone there. Lives near me, went to my secondary school and my university. Big up Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for joining in. What are your thoughts about Pogba? He's been pretty good with assists. I honestly, look, he's been really good. Pogba is having a great season. I'm not going to say his performances are going to go down, but I think his assists will. Because if you look at his expected assists, he's been vastly overperforming them. I think his expected assists is around 2.52. I don't know the exact figures. And he's got 7. So there's a vast overperformance. I think Salah, Trent, Jota and Mane potentially, they all have higher expected assists than Pogba, yet they all have like 1, 2 or 3 assists this season, so that's one to keep an eye on. That's why I prefer Greenwood, I prefer Ronaldo, even Wan-Bissaka and Shaw rather than Pogba, but he is a good option. I captained Salah over CR7 this week. Do you think it affected my overall rank a lot, and by how much do you predict it did? Look, if you want a really good answer, I'd go to livefpl.net. It gives you a really good insight with the stats, the percentages and stuff like that. I don't think you lost out on too much, but just think about it this way. Salah got 8 points, Ronaldo got 13, so you missed out on 5 points. The difference isn't 16 compared to 26. The difference is 8 compared to 13. It's 5 points. So you don't miss out on too much, but at this stage of the season, you maybe missed out on 100, 200k because it's really tight at the moment. But 5 points in the grand scheme of things, later down in the line, a difference of 5 points won't be as bad in terms of a rank swing. But don't worry about it too much. You can't always get it right. Who do I play for? Antonio next week, Soufal or Bissouma? I'd play Soufal. Should I say that? Yeah, maybe. I think Bissouma actually... No, he scored against Everton last season. I was going to say he scored against Leicester. Yeah, I'd probably still go for Soufal, but I don't really expect any of them to do well. My bench is Keith and Target. Should I transfer Antonio? In that case, I probably would transfer him out here. Hey Dylan, what do I do with Benrahma? Thinking I may hold him or take him out for Sarr. What do you think? I'd either take him out for Sarr or Rafinha. So if you don't have Rafinha, I'd definitely get Rafinha in for Benrahma. Brownhill and Tony dropping in price tonight, and I have a few injured suspended players. Is that enough to wildcard? When you say a few, how many? If you're talking about 2 or 3, I think that's fine. But if it's more, then fair enough. That could be an issue. But don't worry about price rises and falls. That's not an issue in my opinion. You might as well do a Q&A video one day with the random questions you've got. And yeah, that's true, Mickey. That's true. But then again, it's a nice kind of I'd say distraction, or not distraction. It's a nice little break, or what am I saying at this point? It's literally like 12:15. But yeah, it's quite refreshing, let's say, to have different questions. Thanks so much for the sore throat cold advice. Didn't think of the citric foods, and yeah, I've been taking paracetamol and medicine, etc., but forgot how good tea could be in these instances. Yeah, I definitely recommend those 2 things, citric fruits and tea, since obviously you've already done those things. Oh, also honey, if you're still here, Adil. Honey is really important. So whether you're having it with biscuits or whatever, or you have honey by itself, there's also some special honey, which is designed specifically for that type of situation. And also putting honey in your tea, some people might be like, what is this going about? But, it works. Trust me, that's also good. Don't go for Bamford. He had a mini interview pitch side and was complaining about his hamstring pinging. Oh, yeah, that's true. You mentioned it and someone else did. Yeah, that is a good point. Obviously, look, when I say Bamford, I'm assuming he's fit. What I would do is wait until the end, when we're approaching the Game Week 5 deadline before making these moves. I have Bamford. Should I get Jimenez too? For who, though? For DCL or Antonio? But yeah, Jimenez is a good option. You can have both of them. Who should I keep? Wilson, DCL, or Antonio? Or keep none of them for wildcard? On a wildcard, I wouldn't have Wilson. Yeah, I wouldn't have any of them on a wildcard because they're all kind of injury doubts or Antonio suspended. So, yeah, on a wildcard, I get rid of all of them. But if, we're not talking about wildcard, I'd keep Antonio and get rid of the other two. Please don't take penicillin regularly and without your doctor's approval for your common cold. You'll become resistant to antibiotics and more susceptible to infections. Med student, yeah, definitely take his advice. He knows more than me about this. Did we keep score predictions to check? Could be a part of the stream going forward. I didn't do it in my deadline streams. The reason why I didn't do predictions there is because I do them in my previews, in my videos. But yeah, that's one thing that I could do in the future. But either way, I think I actually pointed out the results I got right from last week. So heading into Game Week 4, so the Game Week 4 preview, I talked about my Game Week 3 predictions and how they went. And I got Liverpool versus Chelsea right, the 1-1, and another result. I can't remember exactly now. But trust me, I did get another one right. I wouldn't lie about it. It's all on video. It's all on YouTube. But yeah, that's a good point. I'll think about that. Well, I didn't realise 5 out of 10 games are televised and going to Albania, England, if you care. First England game ever. Wow. Hopefully you enjoy it, Noah. And England should win that easily, really, but could be an intimidating atmosphere, that's for sure. And 5 out of 10 games are televised. To be fair, it should be 10, but yeah. If there's ever a good time to choose a differential and captain, or even go as far as a triple captaining, then this week versus Palace is Sadio Mane at Anfield after a good yet frustrating Leeds game. Yeah, he had so many shots, so many chances, should have gotten so many more points, and Palace is just a favourite of his. Transfer out Soufa for Marcel or Benrahma for Gray Traore, holding Antonio. I'd transfer out Benrahma for Gray or Traore. Thoughts on Robertson? Look, he's always a good option. In UCL Fantasy, he's someone I'd prefer to have than in FPL, but I just would rather have Trent. He's just got so much attacking potential, and Tsimikas could take some minutes from time to time, although not often. I'm DCL'd. Thoughts on Salah or Mane for Game Week 5? For Game Week 5 specifically, I prefer Mane, I think, but Salah's always a good option. DCL to Vardy and then switch Vardy to Lukaku around Game Week 7. That sounds like a good option. I'd probably go for that, Jay. And I think that actually could be really good. Cheers, Dylan. Thank you, Laser. Best 4.5 million midfielder? Probably Brownhill, but he's going down in price. So there's also Sissoko, if you're interested. Can't believe you're still streaming now at midnight. Fair play. Yeah, there's so many people. I'm trying to get through the questions, but I will be ending soon. I'm not a machine or anything, believe me. But thank you very much. Honey and lemon. Yeah, that's really good. 1992 hip hop. That's a great advice. Yeah, honey. I forgot about lemons actually. That's a good point. And honey. Yeah, that's a good one. Brought in DCL, took a -8 hit, and I captain Antonio. Rank dropped from 40k to 350. Yeah, these things can happen. It's really early in the season. There's going to be big rank swings in your favour and against you sometimes. Don't worry about it. I shall try the honey for my throat. Thanks. No problem, mate. Obviously, everyone. Jay, 1992 hip hop. And let me try to get the name as well. Hiresh also gave very good suggestions there, so that's really good. And hopefully you get well soon, mate. Got DCL and Antonio. Do I do DCL to Bamford and keep Antonio, or both out for Bamford and Jimenez? I do DCL to Bamford and keep Antonio. Dylan, respect for having this stream so late at night. Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, I will be ending soon, but I'm just trying to go through the last few questions. Thank you, everyone who has joined in. And if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, just a little plug, and share this video around with anyone who loves FPL, UCL Fantasy, and football in general. Of course, really appreciate reaching 5,000 subscribers today and also 500 followers on Twitter. You can also follow me there and on Instagram, and technically it was yesterday. It is 12 o'clock at midnight now in the UK, and we're still going at the moment. Pogba's expected assist is 1.2. Yeah, that was it. I said, what did I say, 2.5? Yeah, literally, I'm just chatting shit. That's double. Yeah, 1.2. That's awful. And of course, I tend to get my stats from Fantasy Football Hub, but I didn't in that case. Otherwise, it would have been the right one. Should I wildcard if I have no bench players available for next week? I mean, depends. If you have a starting 11, that's fine. You don't need to wildcard. Otherwise, nah, I would try to avoid the wildcard. Will DCL drop in price before Game Week 5? I think so. Yeah, especially with the news that's come out. How many years have you been playing? 2 years, really, playing seriously. So this is my third season. Finished 67k, 55k, and we'll wait and see what happens here. In UCL Fantasy, I finished 20k and around 3,000 or 4,000 last season. DCL out, my bench is not good. I'd probably get rid of DCL her, like I said before. Bro, you're still streaming? All my days, keep it up, bro. Yeah, unfortunately, I will be ending soon, but yeah, I am still streaming. Thoughts on replacing DCL for Edouard? Not yet, but I would consider that in Game Week 8 or 9, especially Game Week 9. Robertson and Trent? I would just rather have Trent and Jota and Salah right now, but of course, Robertson's always a good option. Skip Oliver. Skip is 4.5. He played every match for Spurs. True, but he's very defensive. I would expect more from Brownhill or Sissoko, but then again, I mean, you might have a point there. Thoughts on playing Brandon Williams this game week? He could do well, but I would expect Watford to score a goal or two, to be honest, and I don't trust Norwich defensively. Thoughts on, or have you activated any chip yet? I haven't, yeah, none of them, Adil. No chips yet, and yeah, maybe the wild card in a few weeks, but nothing. You know, I've just got ideas. I don't want to overcommit, and I want to keep my options open. Bamford might be injured. Yeah, exactly, Mark Corner. Spoke to BT and mentioned his hamstring was pinging. Yeah, a few people have mentioned it in this chat. Appreciate everyone who did. That is a concern, of course. Thank you, 1992 Hip Hop. Thank you, Laser. Yes, Dylan, have you used any chips? Yeah, I haven't. Bruno and Antonio out for Ronaldo, Lukaku and Jota. Those look really good. And if that's for a -4 or less, I'd probably go for that, Khalid. But if it's -8 or 12, maybe just wait. Where can I check stats, XG, XGA, etc. without having to sign up to anything? Well, you can sign up to a free trial on Fantasy Football Hub. But otherwise, you literally would just have to either watch videos or get them from Twitter, really. All the stats come from places where you have to sign up, but you can have a free trial on Fantasy Football Hub. And then, obviously, from there, you can see if it's worth, getting a membership. Cheers, mate. Glad I found your channel today. Good night. Thank you, real name. Thank you so much, and hope to see you very soon. Should have a glass, even half a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice every morning. It's very good for your immune system and can help you to get better. Hope you feel better soon. Yeah, that's a great suggestion as well, Mickey. 55k, nice. Yeah, it's not the greatest. And once again, I took a lot of hits last season, and also the season before that. By December, I took over 100 points worth of hits, including -24, I think, on the week that Trent got a hat-trick of assists against Leicester. And guess what I did? I got rid of Trent. Oh my God. Oh my. Thinking about it now makes me cringe. But there you go, I played the game for fun. And from that point onwards, I started taking it a bit more seriously. I was around 4 million in the world probably at that point, or 1 million in the world. And then I went on a run. I started not making too many transfers, and I started doing all right. And I was like, you know what, this is fun, when you're not doing so badly. So obviously I've tried to do well ever since. Good night. I'll try to tune in next stream. Thank you, Jamie Boy. I will be obviously ending this soon, but thank you very much to everyone who's still here. Really appreciate it. Thank you, 1992 Hip Hop. Thank you, Adil. Dylan, so underrated, you don't understand. I'm thinking of the song there. I just don't think you understand. No, but yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, of course. All down to you guys being here. And yeah, the live streams are the best part. Obviously, I enjoy making the videos, but the live streams are even better with all the kind of feedback and ideas. Over and out. Thanks, Dylan. Thank you, 99. Oh my God, I can't even speak. 1992 Hip Hop. Really good name, by the way. And over and out to you as well. Have a good evening, you too, Adil. Thanks again. Have a good night. Thank you as well, Ashpreet. And hope to see you all as well in the UCL Fantasy stream tomorrow at 4 p.m. British summertime. 100 points of hits. Bro, how? Don't ask me, mate. I mean, I was a fool back then. I was a young fool. And now I'm 2 years older. Still a fool, but a bit less, I'd say. At least in FPL terms. I'm taking it seriously. First time. My lowest rank so far is 8k. That's a great rank. Jesus Christ. I mean, you're talking about 55k being good. 8k is great. Great stream as always, Dylan. Good night and enjoy your well-deserved glass of water after you finish streaming. Ciao, ciao. I've literally got one right here, but I haven't really drank too much. I probably should. Number 1 for FPL, don't take hits. Exactly, Will Tang. Yeah, I mean, it can pay off like it did for me this week, but do not take unnecessary hits and try to be patient and give your team a chance to do well. Thanks, Dylan. Triple Captain Man or TC Man? Okay, yeah, you know, I can't even understand these abbreviations at this point. I'm thinking of FPL and general. My name is Jamie. Fair enough, yeah. I mean, 1992 hip-hop is good, but I'll call you Jamie then. When do you stream? Sorry about the questions. No, don't be sorry, Jamie. Another Jamie. So in terms of reaction streams, I always do them straight after the last match is done for the week. This is for FPL. As for deadline streams, I tend to do them on the Friday. That's what people prefer, by the way, with these 2 times. And in terms of UCL Fantasy, I tend to do it 1 hour before the deadline, which is when the matches kick off. But tomorrow I'm going to be doing at 4 p.m. because I'm not able to tomorrow at the usual time, 7 p.m. British summertime. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Sometimes there might be an extra stream or 2, but I tend to stream 2 times a week. And when it's UCL, it'll be 3 times. So there'll be another live stream tomorrow. I definitely need that break. I mean, 16 hours pretty much or less until my next one. Take care. You too, Ralph. Hopefully I got that right. If I haven't, apologies. And is that... Yeah. Thank you, mate, says Laser. Thank you very much as well. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, oh my god. Literally, I'm producing tongue twisters where there isn't one. Thank you, the Galactic Hobbit. Thank you so much. Another great name. Cheers, bro. I'm expecting to dip down the ranks soon. Don't expect that, obviously. Aim high. Don't have huge expectations, or should I say, you know, be ambitious. Okay, I don't want to, you know, downplay or anything. But obviously, don't beat yourself up if you don't meet high expectations. You know, just try to take it easy. Obviously, be ambitious, want to do well. But at the end of the day, it's just a game. And triple captain this weekend, Ben Rama. What? Against United, really? I don't know about that, mate. I probably would recommend not doing that. Hey, Dylan, thanks for the stream. Really appreciate it. Thank you, her. Hopefully you got all the answers to your questions and enjoyed it. I will be there, says Jamie. Thank you very much. And of course, UCL Fantasy. I've got to think about that as well. That's going to be very fun. Thank you to everyone. We reached 5,000 subscribers, like I said, a few times in the stream, and 500 followers on Twitter. Really appreciate it. And yeah, just really blessed. Obviously, let's see what happens in UCL tomorrow. Going to be doing another stream there. And until next time, all the very best of luck. Enjoy the football. And yeah, take care. And just keep enjoying life, really. Thank you very much.